Welcome back, True Seeker. It is January 9th, 2025. It is the third day of the fires in Los Angeles. They're continued to they're continuing to refer to them as apocalyptic. And we've talked about why that is. I'm doing my third live stream on these fires, and there was something I was starting to touch on yesterday, and then I got sidetracked and missed the point. So I want to go back and revisit that. And that is the $322 billion budget Gavin Newsom proposed the day before the fires began. I want to show you how these things are no accident and how they tie in with what Eisenhower warned about as he left the office, the military industrial complex that could grow to be beyond your worst nightmares. You have to take the artifacts from history to figure out what's going on in the modern age. Again, you had founders when this nation was being established telling you have to protect yourself from enemies, foreign and domestic. Hundreds of years later, you have people like Eisenhower warning you about a military industrial complex that can grow to be beyond your worst nightmares. And again, it could target people domestically. That's what the founders warned you about when this nation was being set up. And again, you've had all kinds of warnings. You got Papa Bush talking about a new world order, 11 years to the day of his son being the president when the World Trade Center comes down in the 11th state. There's been a lot of clues and warnings out there about what's going on. And don't forget that both the Bushes were members of Order 322, Skull and Bones out of Yale. And look it up. There was even a simulation 322 days before September 11th. Look it up. It's called Pentagon Maskell. Exactly 322 days before 9/11. Do you know what they simulated 322 days before 9/11? They simulated a plane flying into the Pentagon. Only for on the day of 9/11 for you to get Flight 77 crashing into the 77-foot tall Pentagon 77 minutes after takeoff on the 77th meridian. But here, before we go any further with the budget, one other thing we're going to touch on is the Dodgers. For years, I've been talking about the Dodgers World Series and wildfires in Los Angeles. Again, Vice News wrote that hit piece on me back in 2017 where I said Houston would beat LA after the flooding of Harvey and the La Tuna fires in Los Angeles because water puts out fires. There's been numerous examples since. Again, we're going to cover the Newsom thing. And yes, the Dodgers rigged World Series, which, yes, we did call in spring training, as we so often do with the rigged World Series. We've nailed a lot of them from spring training. But yes, all these things are connected. You're not. It's sad that the psychopaths work this way, and I'm going to explain why they do it this way. Most of the people in this nation don't know about Eisenhower's military-industrial complex speech because they're so distracted with the Coliseum, the sports game, the entertainment. But all of these roads do intersect, and all these rituals do come together. Anyhow, before we get into that, I just want to start right here too, because if you watch the first video I did on this topic, I talked about part of the reason they're burning our own cities and infrastructure down. And Los Angeles, the latest victim, and I've talked about this more and more, is it ties in with what the Jesuit who runs the World Economic Forum said. That's Klaus Schwab. He said by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. And that still feels like an exaggeration by 2030 because we're not that far away. But part of the reason it's seeming more and more possible that the deadline's not too far off is because they're making the cost of living so expensive. From food to basic necessities to insurance, which is climbing more and more rapidly. It's like, as a self-employed person, I just had to add our baby to my health insurance. I already had to pay $300 and some a month for myself. To get the decent clinic nearby to add my baby on, my insurance is now almost $1,000 a month. And there were plans I could have bought that cost way more. But again, this cost of living is becoming more and more absurd. And for anyone who owns a home or even a car, you've seen how much insurance rates have climbed in recent years. I was blown away the other year when I found out my nephew, who's in his early 20s, had to pay $2,500 a year just for his car insurance. I thought, man, you must be getting ripped off. And then I looked into it, and he actually had a good deal for the times. When I was in my early 20s paying my car insurance, it was like, I forget, it wasn't even $50 a month. That wasn't that long ago. But anyhow, Anyhow, this is the headline this morning, all over the news. California's insurance is in crisis. The solution will cost homeowners a ton. It's already costing us a ton. And it's not just going to be California, you guys. The reason all of our rates are rapidly rising is because of all of these crazy supposed natural disasters that are occurring all over the place. And again, what we're going to get to is how you can see it's all perfect ritual. You can go back and listen to what I was talking about November 8th, 2018, when Los Angeles and Paradise burned up by the numbers. By the way, from those fires to this one is 322 weeks later, right after Gavin Newsom's $322 billion budget's proposed the day before. But again, just explaining the same thing, that if humanity does not wake up to what is going on, about the tyrants who rule over us, who use the military technology in this way against its own people, again, sooner or later, it's going to be your neighborhood. These purposeful destructions of American cities and infrastructure, they're going to impact you, whether you're in those cities or not. And that is abundantly clear. Here we are 6 years later. And we've been covering these purposefully set fires by the numbers since way before it happened to Paradise. Before I get into this too, I had to block somebody on my phone last night because I'm just so tired of this person. They came out to Oklahoma City with us, and they came out to New York with us. And practically for the past 2 years, they spam my phone with how I need to get a grasp on how, Zach, all of this stuff you're exposing is only the simulation we live in. All of these ideas that are promoted, that are viral, that there's just some kind of simulation and all this stuff is inevitable, it's all trash, it's all false, and it's like a new religion to keep you sitting on your hands. Again, I don't know how you can be texting me about this just being part of a simulation when we're showing you exactly who the rituals are set up with, It's maddening. So anyway, that person, I gave them the benefit of the doubt because they came out and pounded payment with us as we educated about the Jesuits and what they really did in Oklahoma City on April 19th, 95, and what they did to the World Trade Centers on September 11th, 2001, and what they're now doing in Los Angeles. But no, it's maddening that things like simulation theory and what is Mandela effect and flat earth theory, all of this stuff is trash. And that's the reason big tech makes it viral. It makes the truth community look dumb. It's a waste of time. It has nothing to do with anything that's going to change the world. What is important is to know your enemy. That's what this channel is about, understanding who your actual enemy is, because yes, we do have an enemy. They're working against us. Case in point, what's going on in LA right now that's severely impacting the people who live there, but going to impact all of us because all of our insurance rates will climb even more, making the cost of living even less attainable. I feel so bad for the younger generations coming out of school with massive debt from school and then looking at this debt burden they have to pay off, and then looking at the cost of what it is to ever own a home and what the cost is to even just feed yourself at the grocery store. And then, it's just, this is happening because humanity is not responding to the actual problems and seeing the forest for the trees. And there are people here who are on it, such as yours truly, who've been calling it out in spades. And then you still have all these other that just want to gravitate towards this just like stupid nonsense. Oh, I don't listen to you, Zach, because you can't agree that the earth is flat. There's no proof the earth is flat. Zach doesn't like the Mandela. I'm into the flat earth and Mandela effect. And Zach's shilling because he doesn't acknowledge those topics. That's because they don't do anything for us. Simulation theory. Oh yeah, let's just you know what? Why are we even looking into anything? If we just live in a simulation and everything's going to unfold the way it is, why are we even looking into anything? You guys have to realize that the reason these things are promoted is just to add confusion and to pacify people and to make people throw in the towel and give up. And that's what you can't do. Trust me, I feel like throwing in the towel and giving up every day. I get 1/10 the views I got 10 years ago. That's a hard thing as a content creator. When imagine, like, here, instead of being a content creator, I lift weights. I've been in the gym for 10 years, And now I'm 10 years ago, I could bench 300. Now I'm so weak, I can only bench 30 pounds. I mean, that's almost what it's like being the content creator that's me, when you get a tiny fraction of what you got a decade ago. Anyway, I maintain the idea that Google is making my numbers look worse than they are, but I think that's what they are. I mean, I know Google has destroyed my channel by deleting it 20 some times and burying us in the algorithm, but again, I feel like throwing in the towel is quitting on the mission that needs to be achieved, whether it's mission impossible or not. But anyhow, let's get into what I meant to bring up yesterday, and then let's also talk about the Dodgers piece, because yes, it is important. And the thing that sucks is talking about the Dodgers piece is the kind of thing that'll make people roll their eyes, like, oh, this guy's got to be out of his mind. He thinks the World Series is sync with the fire. Yeah, I've been talking about it for years and accurately forecasting, and it looks like this could be showing that the Dodgers are going to be back in the big game again by the end of 2025. We'll get to that, because this is what these people do. So anyhow, $322 billion was the proposal on Monday, January 6th, one day before the crazy Santa Ana winds came in by the numbers that sparked the fires that the authorities are still trying to figure out how they started. Again, we've had it figured out since before they started, as we covered the morning of January 7th. Again, it's the same old, same old. But notice that Newsom's budget, January 6th, was 88 days after his birthday, right? California in the most simple cipher equates to 88. And it looks like I might have forgot to put the screenshot in here, but if you're new here, Kabbalah, again, there is something called Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. And the most simple cipher in the English language is just the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, so on. Okay? California equates to 88. So 88 days after Newsom's birthday, he proposes the $322 billion budget, a very special number to Order 322, Skull and Bones. And does it make you think of anything with 88 and 322 in history? Just think about it for a second before I give you the answer. Does it remind you of anything? 88, 322, anything? Does it ring a bell? Again, Order 322 is Skull and Bones. Was that the year that number 41 was elected? Is that what happened that year? Number 41, a member of Skull and Bones? George Herbert Walker Bush? Just for the record, in the base ciphers, these are the base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order with numerology. That's where Skull and Bones is 41. The reverse alphabetic order, if you look it up, you'll see Papa Bush, number 41, was born on June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year, which is also the nation's capital's dialing code, 202 in DC. And then if you run the alphabetic order in reverse numerology, Skull and Bones is 76, like how his son, who became president, his birthday is July 6th. And, of course, the Georgia Guidestones, which were put up on March 22nd, 322, they came down on George W. Bush's 76th birthday on 7/6, which was also Daniel Coit Gilman's birthday, another famous member of Skull and Bones who has a lot to do with the modern day medicine. He created the Johns Hopkins University. A lot of hospital chains have come out of Skull and Bones, if you're not aware. Isn't that comforting, knowing that Skull and Bones, Order 322, known as the Brotherhood of Death? Isn't it comforting knowing that they're behind a lot of our hospital chains? Brotherhood of Death also is just 187 for the record. Their alias, homicide code in California, July 6th, 187th day of the year, just for the record. Again, that's Junior's birthday. But okay, 88 days after Newsom's birthday, he proposes the California budget. The fire begins the next day in Los Angeles, 89 days after his birthday. And again, with the alphabetic order and numerology, Los Angeles, California is 89. For people who missed it, I went all through California in the spring of 2023. We arrived in Los Angeles in time for the playoffs to educate about how Kobe was sacrificed at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age in a big Jesuit rituals we've been teaching about for years, but we went down to Los Angeles to teach people in the streets, but we went all through California. We talked about the murder of Bob Lee, the Square CashApp guy, days after he was killed. Why on the Ides of March, the Federal Reserve put out the memo that they'd begin certifying the FedNow system on the first week of April. and then he was stabbed to death on April 4th. Like the Ides of March, just remember the stabbing of Caesar in 44 BC. But anyway, we did a lot of interesting things. We went down to big tech land and talked about Facebook being established the day DARPA was, which is the military technology branch, and a lot of interesting things on that trip. But we also did stop by the Capitol in Sacramento to educate about Gavin Newsom and his lockdown in California for the scandemic by the numbers. You should have seen, if you were not watching, you should have seen what they did to us in Sacramento. They had some group out there that has 44 branches throughout the country. We learned this from talking to the people out there. 44 branches, and what it is an advocacy group for essentially Black Americans who've had their family members murdered by gun violence, and they're all unsolved mysteries. When I found out they had 44 groups out the nation, I was like, God, this is sick. Because I mean, you think about it. MLK killed on 44. Malcolm X killed on 44 date numerology. His assassin, Thomas Hagen, equals 44, got 44 years in prison. Shooting equals 44, like execution, like kill. And anyhow, when we got there, we had a speaker system. We were going to blast out the governor, but we couldn't because this group was there. But they were supposed to like end their day. I forget what time it was now, at like 2 p.m. And then they said when they're done, we could do our thing. So after their thing wrapped up, I'm just telling you guys this story. After their thing wrapped up, this group led with the 44 jurisdictions in America, after their thing ended, they told us that we would be able to speak and do what we came to do there. But they had a guy hang around with their loudspeaker system, and every time we started to speak after they were done, he'd fire up the mic and just talk over us. I'm making the point because it's just so hard to get out knowledge and information. And again, these people do have a right to advocate for having their, they're at the doorstep of Gavin Newsom asking him to do something about all these unsolved murders. That's never going to happen. This guy is the murderer. He's part of this Jesuit cabal. Again, Gavin Newsom's another one of these Jesuits, went to Santa Clara. That's why he speaks in the Jesuit code. Again, just like how this fire began in Los Angeles 56 days after the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits, Gavin Newsom's 56, like Society of Jesus is 56, like natural disasters 56. Again, remember, Tibet got rocked that day. None of these things are an accident. But Gavin Newsom, when he locked down California, his quote was 56% will get the virus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. Again, the whole thing was Jesuits in 56. And I mean, it continues to be Jesuits in 56. What's going on in Los Angeles right now is another example. But anyway, the point I'm making is this group that's supposedly some advocacy, you could see that it was just like, a part of me wondered, I was like, did they send this group here because they knew we were coming here on this day? I told people I was going to be there that day. But then the guy just stayed there the whole time, supposedly working for this organization just to drown us out after their event was over. It was so annoying because it's like, how often do I get to drive down to California and call out Gavin Newsom at the state capitol? Yeah, it's just, again, guys, there's so many obstacles. There's so much controlled opposition. And just even like that, it's like, it was almost like just looking at it and realizing what it was, bringing all these Black people together who are upset about the injustice against them, the 44 different groups. There was a woman from that group who I talked to about the whole 44 and killing thing. Her eyes got wide, like, oh my God. I was trying to tell her, I was like, whatever this organization is, it's part of this cabal. It's like mocking you. Bring you to Gavin Newsom's Slick Willie's doorstep to ask for justice? That's never going to happen. It's like going down to hell to ask Satan for the world to be saved. Anyway. Here's Gavin Newsom, Los Angeles, burning up this Jesuit scum 89 days after his birthday. Chaos comes to Los Angeles by the numbers. And like I've been saying, this thing is a religious order. It's a religious order. The Jesuits are the military order of the Catholic Church that run this nation. They run a lot of nations. This is religious. You see how religion's 89? It's also 53, like Los Angeles, the city of angels. I mean, doesn't that sound religious in itself? But religion is 53, like Los Angeles. Remember, January 7th had 53 date numerology. Los Angeles, 53 in reverse, 37 forwards. It was 37 days after the anniversary of the December 1st, 2011 fire or destruction from wind. They were comparing this windstorm to that. This one's more destructive because there's all these fires. But 37 days after that anniversary. Los Angeles 109 and 37 like weather. Talked about all these things. But again, we made the point how the December 1st fire, 12/1, is a lot like the abbreviation LA. L is the 12th letter, A is the first, 12/1. And this fire began on the 121st day of the state's age. September 9th is California's birthday. January 7th was the 121st day of the state's age. In the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, Revelations 121. In what's known as Jewish gematria, or what Derek renamed Latin, or what Gematrix renamed Hebrew, Revelation is 1010. Just like Gavin Newsom's birthday is 1010. Gavin Newsom's got that October 10th birthday. 1010. Again, perfect guy to sync the ritual up with. And part of me even starts to wonder. It's like, okay, for the record, just the phrase "fallen angel" has that 89 too. You got fallen angels in Revelation. You got fire coming from the sky. You got the battle of the armies of heaven, the battle of good and evil. Anyway, you also have the movie that Amazon put out a few years ago, Lockdown 2025, where Los Angeles is on fire. But yes, again, one more time, Revelation 7:1, the mayor's 71 years old, Santa Ana equals 71, like Ventura County, like the Society of Jesus, like Catholic. Again, Revelation 7:1. After this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth to prevent any wind from blowing on the land or on the sea or any tree. Again, you have the reversal of that, right? Instead of it being prevented, it's happening. But all that 4 goes with LA. And again, Revelation 13:13, the beast sets fire for all to see. Again, 41's the 13th prime. These fires in LA began 13 days after Sol Invictus, which is another 71. Again, Sol Invictus 71. Santa Ana wins, they say. Santa Ana wins 71. Karen Bass, 71 years old. The Jesuits served the Catholic Church. Catholic 71. Their formal title, the Society of Jesus 71. County of Orange, which is right down there, who's I wrote or County of Orange 71. Again, their seal for their city is the Jesuit Order's logo. By the way, home insurance, which they're saying is going to skyrocket even more after this. Home insurance 71. So, home insurance 71. California's insurance is in crisis. The solution will cost homeowners a ton. By 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. They definitely lied about the be happy part. But yeah, they just keep using the phrase apocalyptic all throughout the media. Again, notice how in the base ciphers, again, revelation and an apocalyptic overlap. Fires begin on the 121st day of the state's age. Again, L the 12th letter, A the first, 12/1. In light of Gavin Newsom proposing the $322 billion budget, did I forget to put it up? Oh, no, I got it up here. Okay. The $322 billion budget the day before the fires began. Again, this whole thing of letters and numbers and words and dates comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah. And the physical model for Kabbalah is the tree of life. And again, Genesis is what the Abrahamic religions are based in. Genesis 3:2:2. The verse, and the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. And I remind you, in the King James Version and in the New International Version, both versions use different wording, but both verses up through the punctuation of knowing good and evil, both verses equate to 3:2:2. The words in the verse equate to 3:2:2, despite the different wording in the NIV and the KJV. Again, 3:2:2 is a very special number to these people who are the cabal, who use this Kabbalistic code every single day, who mock us every single day, who use the Bible like a playbook, who know good and evil and choose to use evil because it's highly effective. Again, when you're evil, you can really scare people. You can really scare them out of their rights and liberties and into agendas. And that's what's going on, one day at a time, pushing us further and further into a hole where they have greater and greater control over us. Again, they control the government. They control the media, the information we receive. They control the food supply. They control the military. They control the money system. Again, they're using all these things to get more and more control over us, where we are more and more slaves to their system, where we have less and less rights and liberties, even sovereignty over our own beings. And recently, a lot of people, because they didn't know better, submitted to a totally satanic 666 mask of the beast agenda and also a jab of the beast agenda. Again, if you guys don't know, the whole scandemic was simulated exactly 666 days before March 11, 2020, when they locked down the nation, locked down the world. And again, in Revelation, you got to accept the mark, one letter off from mask, if you want to buy or sell, the 666. And again, VACCINATION, the thing that goes in your arm, where you get the experimental crap, as it was then, that's caused a lot of people a lot of problems if they're even still here. Again, that has a gematria value of 666. There's a cipher where you just multiply the alphabetic order times 6. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24, so on. The first letter in the jab, which is actually V, VACCINATION, V would become 132. It's the 22nd letter times 6. The next letter A would be 6. The next letter C would be 18, so on. You add it up, 666. Again, Cladex simulated May 15th, 2018, 666 days before March 11, 2020. All right. But again, Abrahamic religions, they're all based in Genesis. It matters because if you're watching the news about Pacific Palisades burning up, a lot of coverage about how that was an area for Jewish refugees after World War II. That's a common story they're telling the news, how this area that a lot of Jews live in, it's now burnt up. The Holocaust, if you look at what Holocaust means, it means burnt offering. We talked about how when the Rothschild burned up in LA, 41 days before this fire was set, like LA's 41, again, how it was synced up with the Holocaust and its remembrance, and it was clearly a burnt offering ritual, since the Rothschild families connected to the Balfour Declaration, which brought about Israel. And again, there's so much symbolism and ritualism in everything these people do. And again, just trying to point out how it's done. But if you're new here, again, Kabbalah's physical model, again, Kabbalah is where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from. Kabbalah's physical model is the tree of life, which has 3 pillars and 22 paths. So you think it's an accident that Genesis 3:22 mentions the tree of life? Okay. Again, the ancient mystery religions are Kabbalah, Kundalini, Hermeticism, alchemy. There's some other things I'm forgetting. But you see how ancient mystery religions equates to 322 as well, and also 119? The day that Newsom proposed his budget was 119 days after the state's birthday, September 9th, or you could also say the 120th day of the state's age. And here, again, just to show you why both of these numbers matter, 119 and 120. Keep in mind, the Dodgers just won the 120th World Series, getting their 120th postseason win since they moved to LA. And then in a few verses after Genesis 3:22, where it says, must not live forever, it talks about how a human's life is limited to 120 years. But again, September 9th, California's birthday, to January 6th, the day you made the proposal, 119 days later, right? 119 days later. It's also 17 weeks. The next day the fire began on January 7th, 17. Santa Ana's also 17. But if you count the span, you could also say it was the 120th day of the state's age. So we're clear here on how 119 and 120 are both going to factor in. But yeah, what a day for a $322 billion budget proposal. Does it remind you of September 11th? The majority of the world writes the date 11/9. Again, 322 days before September 11, 2001, they simulated a plane flying into the Pentagon. Here, In case you don't know about these things, because almost no American does, because we don't have a real media that does any investigative journalism. The simulation began October 24th. That's the day leaving 68 days left in the year, like how World Trade Center construction began in 68, how 911 was made the national emergency dialing code in 68. A bunch of things connected to 9/11 happened in 68, including Boeing debuting their jumbo jetliners, the same Boeing that was founded by a Yale Skull and Bones member. The New York Jets won their only rigged Super Bowl because sports in history have always been connected together. After 9/11, you get the Patriots and the Patriot Act. Tom Brady, with no athleticism in his body, is the greatest quarterback of all time. Got to be brain dead to fall for all this shit, but most people are. Anyway, wait, October 24th, 2000 to September 11th, 2001. Look at that, 322 days. As a Skull and Bones member comes in and takes his throne, George W. Bush, who could hardly formulate a sentence. And remember what else was going on at that time? Who was the governor of California at that time? I couldn't believe it, you guys. I wasn't even old enough to vote in 2000. I was almost 18. I turned 18 July of 2001, so I had to cover the election, though. I was a senior in high school. Had to follow it and couldn't believe how rigged it all seemed. The son of the last Republican president, King George II, is what I was calling him. I thought, where the hell do I live? This is, I don't know. Something's wrong with the people here. They can't see through this shit. But yeah, don't forget, he became number 43, and the election came down to the state where his brother was the 43rd governor, and Florida equals 43, and their daddy was the 43rd vice president. By the way, you guys, Genesis 11:9, where the story of the Tower of Babel ends, tower that divided the world, like September 11th, very divisive amongst the religions. If you're watching CBS, they did the dancing Israeli stories. If you're watching the rest of the media, they were blaming it on Muslims. George W. Bush was calling it a crusade, and fittingly started the war in Afghanistan on the day leaving 85 days left in the year, when Templar equals 85 and military equals 107, like the date was 10/7, going with Rudy Giuliani being the 107th mayor and 9/11 happening on the 107th day of his age. But yeah, Genesis 11:9, where the Tower of Babel story ends. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. Language. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Bible, playbook, a Bible, this thing from the authorities, used to control humanity. Thou shalt do this, thou shalt not do that. Only the authorities can do this. All you can do is wait for your Savior. Wait for your Savior. He's coming any day now. Meanwhile, Billie Eilish, who did the nice music video a few years ago with Los Angeles burning down, what was it called? All the Good Girls Go to Hell. Lyrics begin with praise to Lucifer. Did you see that she's one of the big heroes for the LA fire? She's donating her money from her record sales to help out the victims. I hate watching all this stuff, man. I hate watching all this stuff go on. Oh yeah, she's a hero on the world stage. She's like the female Marilyn Manson, poisoning the minds of the youth. Okay, but yeah, so if you count the span of days, again, September 9th to January 6th, the budget, it would have been 119 days after the state's birthday, or the 120th day of the state's age. Again, in Genesis 6:3, then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. Remember, Illuminati equals 120, and 120 is the 15th triangular number, and the Illuminati was founded on the first day of the 5th month, kind of like 15. If you had 1 through 15 together, it's 120. And speaking of the Illuminati, the founder of the Illuminati died on the 322nd day of the year, November 18th. That's the 322nd day of the year, 43 days remaining. And just for the record, about the 43 days remaining, Yale's 43, the home of Skull and Bones, Order 322, like Florida's 43. Like, again, Papa Bush was the 43rd vice president. His son was the 43rd president. Again, Jeb was the 43rd governor. For the record, though, Jeb didn't go to Yale and wasn't in Skull and Bones, but he still got assigned by the numbers to a high government position in the United States. And if you guys don't know, Adam Weishaupt was a Jesuit. And again, the Jesuits were founded, or not the Jesuits, but the Illuminati was founded in Bavaria, which equals 54, forwards and backwards, like Jesuit order equals 54. And their logo's the sun. And again, the sun's birthday is Sol Invictus, 1225, and it's made of fire. And they synced up this fire in LA, the Sunshine City, the city of angels. They synced it up with the sun's birthday. Again, Sol Invictus, 71. City's burning up on 7/1, the 7th day of the first month. But again, take it from people like Professor Davis explains. It was just because of the Santa Ana winds. Just so happened the mayor was 71 years old, and it was perfectly synced with her birthday. And we'll get to how they had to say she was 7,400 miles away. It's just like when Maui burned up exactly 74 weeks earlier. The governor just happened to be out of town. But here, coming back to military-industrial complex, again, it's 322 forwards. It's 353 in reverse. 353 is the 71st prime. Notice from the Paradise and Los Angeles fires of November 8, 2018, which were said to be the worst in California's history at the time, to this one is 322 weeks later. And just to remind you, Paradise, California, and just think how sick these people are too. You see how it's 118 and 89? It's going to be exactly like Los Angeles, California, but they both burned up on November 8th, 118. Los Angeles, California, 118, 89. You know, something that's interesting to think about is the Monday night football game right after that was the Chiefs and the Rams. It was Goff versus Mahomes, and a record was set in that game with 105 points scored in the Monday night football game, and Goff beat Mahomes. And then they brought Goff's father out after, who they said was one of the firefighters fighting the, I forget if he was fighting the LA wildfires or the Paradise fires. It was one of the two he was fighting. But they brought Jared Goff's father out. And again, 105 points scored. Here we are in the 105th NFL season as the postseason gets underway. Andy Reid's from Los Angeles. And these fires did begin 71 days before Andy Reid's birthday. His birthday is March 19th, the 78th day of the year. So obviously 78 minus 71 is 7. Fires began on the 7th. So you can see this. Big red, looking like Santa Claus. Again, Andy Reid from Los Angeles. Again, I'm telling you, it's just like how they had to cancel the Flames game last night in Los Angeles. Rig sports, rig news, planned rituals, always intersecting because we're living out a plan, a Kabbalistic plan where they literally have a calendar. And like on your calendar, you write like, oh, on this day, we're going to go on vacation. On this day, we're going to get the family photos. This is my shopping day of the week. For them, their calendar's like, here's where we're going to burn down this city. Here's where we're going to hit this city with the earthquake. Here's where we're going to kill this celebrity. Oh, yeah, kill date. Let's actually take out 4 celebrities on this kill date right here because we have the quadruple intersection. That's what the Cabbal's calendar looks like. And that's why we're here every day, every week, a lot of times calling out these dates before they happen. Calling out what to expect, and that's exactly what unfolds, and seemingly everyone still doesn't care. But yeah, this is what these people do. This is what these people do. So yeah, again, just exactly 322 weeks from the last god-awful fire in Paradise in LA by the numbers. Here we are. But yes, 353, the 71st prime. Again, they're telling you the home insurance is going way up. It's not going to be just for California. I mean, these are national companies. Your insurance is going to go up even more. Mine's going to go up. It's like I told you guys, trying to make the dream happen one day at a time. Acquired the commercial building, making the payments on the building, did all the math, looking at the prior owner's expenses, and he was grandfathered in because he'd owned the building since 83, the year I was born. His insurance when I bought the building in October of 2023 was $2,000 a year, which still sounds kind of pricey, $2,000 a year for insurance. But I did the math. They had the renters in there. I was like, okay, we can make the payment and keep everything close to even. And then I went to get my insurance quotes, and the best I could do was just slightly under $10,000 a year for the insurance. I was like, holy Why? 10,000 is way. Yeah, look into what commercial property insurance costs. It costs way more than homeowners insurance. I don't exactly understand why, but I know I'm paying the bills. And it's just like when that happened, I was like, man, is that by 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy? How is anyone supposed to afford me this unless you're BlackRock? You know what I mean? And BlackRock, Vanguard, they're the only ones that can afford these kind of bills. No, you just know everything's going to go up even more. Like, can't wait to see my new quote. Can't wait to see my new quote. How many years until it's up to 71,000 a year? Then you just got to sell. You're like, okay, I'm not going bankrupt to try and make the dream alive. But yeah. Anyway, did you guys get the jokes? Did you get the jokes? Home insurance going to skyrocket after the fires that start in the massive 71 ritual. It was all because of the Santa Ana winds. We need to tax you some more too. Here, more insurance costs and more taxes. You gotta help fight the climate change through more taxation. Again, in case you missed, a 71-year-old Karen Bass. Fire began on her 97th day of her age. Just a few days before the fires began, I explained how to watch out for the 97 pattern in 25, because 97 is the 25th prime, and in this case, fire equals 25. Initially, it was the 3 fires. Last night, they said it climbed up to 6 with the addition of the Sunset fire and the Hollywood Hills fire. By the way, with the Hollywood Hills fire, I noticed that Hollywood Hills caught on fire in 1951. There was a significant fire in Hollywood Hills in 1951. In that Billie Eilish music video, Hollywood Hills is on fire. From that song music video coming out to that fire was 1,951 days later. I don't think that's an accident. Yeah, and again, they do refer to Pacific Palisades as Pali, like Cali. Just again, the overlap with Pali, fire and death, all this overlap. Karen Bass, again, she became mayor 108 weeks before the windstorm that caused the fires. So it is par for the course. I mean, that's what we've been looking at pretty much with every one of these supposed natural disasters that are just so perfectly synced with their government officials. And it's always the mayor and the governor. Doesn't matter what state you go to. Again, Revelation 7:1 about the wind. Again, apocalyptic revelation, 121st day of the state's age. The fires begin. L12, A1, 12:1, like 121. It is right before Super Bowl 59, too, in light of that point I'm making about Mahomes and Goff and the 105 points. Goff did play on the Rams then. The Rams have a prayer, too. You think they're going to have Stafford and Goff face each other in the playoffs again? But anyway. All the 71 business here. Oh, yeah, Eugene Levy, Jewish actor, is the honorary mayor of Pacific Palisades. His property in trouble. Again, apocalyptic everywhere. Saying worst yet to come yesterday. Just coding the same numbers all over. But yeah. 7th day of the first month, Santa Ana, 71. We know Santa Ana is also 17 if you want to write it 1-7. But again, Ventura County, County of Orange, the Society of Jesus, Catholic, the areas impacted. Again, the County of Orange. Their seal is the Jesuit Order's logo with the 32 sun rays on it, like the Rays got beat by the Dodgers, ending the Dodgers' 32-year drought. Again, same Jesuits control your rigged sports game Coliseum, like they control the rest of this. Again, when you spell out 71 as a word, it's 144, like Jesuit order, like go forth and set the world on fire. For the record, Gavin Newsom, Jesuit educated at Santa Clara, his budget proposal was 144 days after the Jesuit order's birthday, which is August 15th. And that means the fire began 145 days later. Santa Ana is also 145. And then it's also 55 like military. You see how Santa Ana is 71 and 145? Look at home insurance. 71, 145, Catholic Church world domination. 71, 145, again, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than Protestant Old Testament. That's why Israel was established on 14/5. It's also why the war in Israel began almost exactly when we said it would. We almost called the war to the day Netanyahu came back. Not to mention, I was saying for years, when Israel turns 75, there's going to be a major war that starts with the nation. Also correct, called years in advance. But yeah, the war in Israel began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. Again, you learn this code, you see what's going on in the world. State of Israel equals the Jesuit order, equals why Netanyahu left in a Jesuit ritual and came back in a Jesuit ritual, equals why David Ben Gurion, whose name equals 145, died in a Jesuit ritual way back on December 1st, 73. But yeah, just the whole Revelation thing in Revelation 7:1, Revelation 13:13 about the beast making fire come down for all to see. Again, in LA, the city of angels, where LA's 13 forwards, 41 in reverse, the 13th prime, reminding you of Kobe, again, dead at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass, and then his daughter's dead at 13 as well. And don't forget, helicopter crash equals 83, and the Pope was 83 at the time. And he died on the anniversary of Bear Bryant, who died in 83, who was the football coach. Football's 83. And Kobe's name, Kobe Bryant's 41, but his full name, Kobe Bean Bryant's 54. And he was dead the Sunday before Super Bowl 54, synced up with Mahomes, who's trying to three-peat like Kobe. And don't forget, Bryant equals 26 forwards, 37 in reverse. Kobe died on the 26th day of the year, 37 years after Bear Bryant died on the same day. And again, the Bryant from the Temptations also died on the 26th of the month, not in January, in another month, but just another famous Bryant who died on the 26th. Again, look up the song Murder by Numbers, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Look up the song Gematria, the killing name. Don't forget, Kobe Bryant equals 157, which is the 37th prime. He died on the 157th day, being 41 years old. They put up the Kobe statue right before Super Bowl 58, which was the 54th Super Bowl in the modern era. And if you guys don't know, they put up the Kobe statue, the first one on the Pope's 54th day of his age. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54, like Jesuit order, like sun, like how Kobe died on a Sunday. He was a big star. They say the sun's a star. Remember what they just did with Jimmy Carter, another 54. He died before Sunday Night Football between his team, the Falcons, versus the nation's capital. And we told you before the game that Dan Quinn was going to get his 54th win, who used to also coach the Falcons, who now coaches the Commanders, and told you all that before the game. We said he'd get to 7-2 at home, and home teams would go 7-2 on Sunday in the NFL, which they did. And then how many points were in the game after Jimmy Carter was announced dead after 2 years, a weekend at Bernie's? 54 points in the game. Again, major ritual, rig sports, Flames in town to face the Kings as LA burns up. And by the way, did you guys notice the Flames? They're here. The Flames, their next game is also against the Kings, but back in Calgary. So they had the Kings and the Flames playing each other back to back from the Flames standpoint. Not an accident, you guys. Not an accident. Professor Dave explains, smart guy, but way too gullible when it comes to authority. I hope he accepts the debate, because he was just saying that it's impossible for their governments to manipulate weather. Essentially saying all this stuff is just climate change, just Mother Nature playing out. Why did they change the phrase to climate change anyway? Remember, if you're my age, growing up, it was always global warming, global warming, global warming, global warming, and all of a sudden it became climate change. I'm going to tell you why right here. Again, climate change, 56. That's who runs it. Society of Jesus, 56. Natural disaster, 56. Again, this one in LA, 56 days after the Superior General's birthday. Again, as Tibet gets rocked with an earthquake on the same day. And they had to tell you it was a 7.1 on 7/1. And again, why would they mess with Buddhists? Look into the hidden history of Jesus' life, why the years from age 12 to 30 are missing. They're saying that part of his life, he was being raised as a Buddhist. Look into that. Everyone's like, oh, this is some dumb conspiracy theory. No, you're just a moron. You're just a moron. Why is there an 18-year missing section of his life? Why did the BBC do a documentary on how the Templars went to great lengths to hide that he was raised a Buddhist? And wouldn't it make sense that he was raised a Buddhist? Who wouldn't want to be raised a Buddhist? I mean, Buddhism is literally a worthy religion. And we've been talking about how the Jesuits have been doing all these rituals to the Buddhists for a long time. They killed one of their leaders not long ago in a big 201 ritual. If you're new here, that's the mother of all their numbers. The Jesuit Order 201, like Order of Illuminati 201. Oh, by the way, here, let me pull up one of Gavin Newsom's 201 rituals with the Diablo Canyon. You guys remember this? When he decided not to take down the nuclear reactor at Diablo Canyon, following the lead of Bill Gates, who's been doing... Here. This was on the 119th day of the year. Looks like I might have just written it. Here we go. From Gavin Newsom's birthday to the day he said he's reconsidering closing Diablo Canyon, 201 days later. In the Bible, there's phrasing for the devil. The phrasing is that old serpent, which is 201. It's 177 and 201, like the Jesuit order, to be fair. Again, Klaus Schwab is the Jesuit leader of the World Economic Forum who put on the Event 201 simulation. Klaus Schwab's got the 177. He's got the 120. You remember when we called the crazy weather on Valentine's Day, the year that Houston froze over, the same week that Beyonce put out her Icy Park clothing line? And please don't be the next person to say, it wasn't Icy Park, it's called Ivy Park. No, that week it was called Icy Park. Look it up. And don't be the next loudmouth dope putting out false information, because all you get over here are facts. But yeah, we did call the crazy weather and the blackouts that came. We had it all called out way in advance. That was 322 days after Klaus Schwab's birthday, again, right after Public Enemy put out the album What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. Okay. Here, just one more quick reminder. I'm going to be super redundant with all these videos, so it sticks. But again, they started with 3 fires, right? Started with 3. Last night I saw they said they were up to 6. Again, the latest ones were the Sunset and Hollywood Hills. But 3 equals 56, like natural disaster, like climate change, like Fratelli Tutti. Again, that's the Pope's first encyclical about climate change. Pope also equals 56. Society of Jesus, 56. The fires began 56 days after Arturo Sosa's November 12th birthday. He's the leader of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. 56 is the number 70 in base 8 counting. We've talked about this pattern many a times, but Pacific Palisades and climate change also 70. Fire 70. Again, Pali and fire. They told you that the fire began near 1190, 119 North Piedra Marada Drive. Just that 119. Tragic number. Vatican 119, Francis 119. It has a big connection to Jewish history, and like Pacific Palisades being where a lot of Jewish refugees moved to after the Holocaust. Again, a story that they've been talking about if you've been watching the news. This part also just about The Rock doing the Netflix special in Los Angeles right before the fires began. We've been talking about all the crazy weather phenomenon connected to The Rock since the Maui fires, where he plays the character Maui, the fire god. Again, he just released the live action trailer not long before the Maui fires. Look up the live action trailer for Moana. It's an island bursting into flame, and that was perfectly synced with the Maui fires of August 8th, 88. This 88 thing, remember George Herbert Walker Bush, Order 322. He became president-elect in 88. We talked about how Gavin Newsom proposed his $322 billion budget 88 days after the state's birthday, the day before the fire began. Notice how Weapon has the 88 connection and the 74 connection. Weapon. Energies like that. A lot of talk of directed energy weapons. But again, look at this. Well, for one, from The Rock's birthday to the fire starting the next day was his 251st day of his age, the 54th prime, going with Windstorm and Jesuit Order. And again, don't forget this is happening in Los Angeles. You got that movie from 88. Speaking of 88, They Live came out in 1988, starring another wrestler, Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, who tweeted on the Jesuit order's anniversary being recognized that the film was a documentary. And then he died not long after on the anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola dying, the founder of the Jesuits. But if you've never seen They Live, in the movie, the evil cabal says they'll have complete control of the world in 2025. The movie's set in Los Angeles, and the enemy of the world is Cable 54. So just think about all these things. Think about all these things. But yes, from the Maui fires synced with the rock to the fires in Los Angeles beginning January 7th was 74 weeks later. Again, they said the hurricane winds of Dora caused the fire in Maui. They're saying hurricane force winds in Los Angeles caused these fires. The qualifying wind speed for a hurricane is 74 miles per hour. Again, weapon, energy, the word nuclear 74, Trinity 74 is in the Trinity test. How about 3 fires to start this thing off? Trinity, the Catholic Church, the Trinity. Remember, Jesus, Messiah, Gospel, parables, they all equal 74. Talking about the Society of Jesus. Also, from the Paradise fires to this fire, a total span of 74 months. They had to report that Mayor Bass was 7,400 miles away in Arica, which is in Chile. Now, I'm confused because I saw this reporting from the New York Post about her being in Arica, Chile, 7,400 miles away. Did you watch Fox News last night? Sometimes I think Fox News, like, they have like the worst research, but Fox News was reporting last night that she was in Africa. So I don't know, was she in Arica, Chile, 7,400 miles away, or was she in Africa, which has one extra letter? I wouldn't be surprised if Fox News got it wrong, but again, they had to report that she was 7,400 miles away. And if you're new here, I always talk about this number and its connection to death, destruction, and killing. The World Trade Center's on the 74th meridian. 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7/4. The Ides of March on the 74th day of the year to remember the killing of Caesar, etc., etc., etc. If you're new here, killing equals 74. So does stabbing. You know, the Ides of March, just remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing. Again, holiday is 74, like Independence Day. Just so happens 3 of the first 5 presidents die on 7/4, and all 3 of them were outspoken against the Catholic Church. And in the case of the first 2 who died together on July 4th, 1826, that was Monroe, or not Monroe, it was Jefferson and Adams. They were the ones who were the most outspoken about what could happen to this nation if the Jesuits came out of suppression. Again, they both die on July 4th, 1826, and then 1,826 days later, Monroe dies on July 4th. That doesn't sound like a ritual? Again, pyro has to do with fire, with all this 74 business. So, do you remember the Masonic fire in California years back? The Masonic fire by the numbers? That's another big 74 word. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. It was created in London. Big another 74 word. Looks like English. Get English 74, Gematria 74, Energy 74. It's traditionally a Jewish practice. It's been adopted by others, including the Catholic Church, who encoded the language. But again, if you look up like what is Gematria YouTube video, the most popular video, a Jewish rabbi will come up, and it's a longer video, but you only have to watch like the opening minutes. He begins by saying, Gematria is energy. So. And again, it goes with Hermeticism. Everything carries a vibration. Every vibration has an influence. You're either the person being influenced or doing the influencing. How do you think it's working for humanity? Do you think they're the ones doing the influencing, or do you think they're the ones getting influenced by the cabal, one destructive ritual at a time? Like I said, these people use this knowledge in the most evil way to scare people out of their rights and liberties, scare them out of their way of living, scare them into a place of submission. Yes, I will give it all up. I will own nothing and be happy and stand in your bread line because I cannot afford to live. I can only afford to follow and do what you tell me. Just put a roof over my head and give me a few crumbs to eat, because that's where they're taking us to. That's where they're taking us to, one day at a time. Hopefully it's not as soon as 2030. Can't tell you how many times I taught about all these same things over and over just to watch it unfold again. Then I got to wake up and I got to tell people like, Zach, it's just a simulation. Okay, it's all synced up with all the Jesuits again. So I guess if it's a simulation and we're in a computer program, then we need to stop the Jesuit computer programmers who are doing this to us. Not to mention they do run all your big tech companies. They have set it up kind of like a simulation. Like I said, they got it all planned out, but that's not a simulation. That's living out their rituals, their planned achievements, which can be stopped if people could wake up and help stop it. Okay. Now, I want to come back to the World Series and this fire. We talked about how this fire began 89 days after Gavin Newsom's birthday. How Los Angeles, California equals 89, like chaos. And they brought chaos to California for the sake of agendas. One of them is making life even more expensive for us. Another is to say, see this climate change, you guys, we got to do something severe. And when we do things severe, it costs you more money and you give up more rights and liberties. You're going to live in the cities that we have planned for you. We're going to do everything that we have planned for you. We're going to have total control over you. And again, I mean, instead of 15-minute cities, like I said, back in the day when they tore out the electric rail from Los Angeles and they built these sprawling suburbs to sell the idea of the automobile and, you know, the American dream of having a nice car and cruising down the road in a beautiful place like LA, that's what was going on then. Now here we are. You know, back then it was like an expansion. Now it's a contraction. Big and sprawling. No, now super small and super controlled. But all under their control. Anyway, this 89 thing. Again, Los Angeles Dodgers 89, Jackie Robinson. You have no idea how hard these numbers play in the rigged baseball season. I'll tell you what. Anytime 73 comes up in a Dodgers game, they're usually big favorites, so they don't pay out as much these days. But they can become 7-3 versus the Rockies for the year. Somebody else in the division. It happens every single time. Not to mention Colorado Rockies have the same numbers. But again, you learn the code. You see the rigged games. You pad the pockets. You don't get sucked into the agendas. You have the ability to educate the world. The world has the ability to learn. The problem is most people don't want to learn. They just want to turn on the TV. I don't trust you. I only trust the things that lie to me and the people in suits reading off teleprompters every day. And that's the problem here. Dopes haven't caught on. We've been calling everything out in spades, forecasting the future, nailing futures, changing people's lives, and still somehow, some way, you know, people are discounting this information. It's crazy. But anyway, I've been talking about for years. Here's a post from 2020. Have you noticed the pattern with Southern California fires and Dodgers World Series? Again, I've been talking about this for years. Right after they won in 2020, there was a big fire in LA. Again, before they lost to the Astros in the 113th World Series, LA was on fire with the La Tuna fires by the numbers. Houston was underwater from Harvey. And again, Matt Harvey was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey, perfectly synced with the World Series that year. This has been going on. So let's take a look at what they're doing this time. We just had the 120th World Series end, and what's upcoming is the 121st World Series. And remember, you can say that this fire began 120 days after the state's birthday, or you could say this fire began on the 121st day of the state's age. And by the way, the Dodgers are hardly even a payout to win the World Series next year. They're a massive favorite again. I'll do a lot more research on this between now and then, but these are the kind of things we document each year. We document the clues, what's going on in the news, what's going on with the actual sports league itself, what are the rituals on and off the field, and then we project our futures. Last year in spring training, we said either the Dodgers will win the World Series or the Braves. We had both bases covered. We knew those were the two spots on the roulette wheel that we're going to hit. And we knew the Braves were dead as soon as they had to face San Diego. We saw how they were dead meat against San Diego, and they were going to have Steve Garvey's Dodgers and Padres meet up in the next round, just like how they opened the season last year. By the way, if you guys don't know, it was the 141st season of the Dodgers last year. They beat the Padres 14-1 to open the year, and then they played in Korea by the numbers. By the way, that first game in Korea won by the Dodgers was 89 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. Yeah, go back and look it up. First game of the year was Remember how they played a week before everybody else? It was 89 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. Los Angeles Dodgers, 89. Of course, they won the game. You know, then the Ohtani gambling scandal story broke out. And we told you that day that Pete Rose was going to die during the season. And then he died perfectly synced with Shohei Ohtani on the last day of the MLB season, where the last game was in Atlanta, where Pete Rose's 44-game hit streak once ended. And for the record, Shohei Ohtani is 193. He died Pete Rose died 193 days after the gambling story broke. That's the 44th prime. And again, he died the last day of the games that were in Georgia, the fourth state, which equals 44, where his 44-game hit streak once ended. And then shortly after that, they kill Ricky Henderson too, and realize Ohtani set this 50-50 club. And then the guys known for stealing bases and also hitting Pete Rose and Ricky Henderson are dead by the numbers. Nobody blinks an eye. But anyway, yeah, the Dodgers won their 8th World Series in their 24th attempt, 4-1. Remind you of anybody? 8-24, Kobe, dead at 41. Yeah. Remember the last 3 times the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series this year, 81 and 63. What happened in those 3 years? Presidents were shot. Notice you guys. Shooting, 109. Los Angeles, 109. Yankees, 109. From the Trump shooting hoax of July 13th under the 13 stripes, 13 weeks from the anniversary of the Secret Service establishment, to the Dodgers winning their 109th game of the year, winning the World Series was 109 days later. Dodgers won 109 games this year, if you don't know. 109 days after the Trump shooting hoax, because it is this scripted. And JFK date of birth. That's right. JFK would have been 107 years old. I was trying to remember what the JFK piece was. Again, the first shooting hoax at Trump's was 45 days after JFK's birthday, like number 45, who's back in 2025, which has a square root of 45, like windstorms 45, like how the year jumped off with the New Orleans shooting, which is 45, and then the Cybertruck thing, 45, and they'd tell you the guy who blew it up, his name equals 369, like Tesla has the quote about 369, and then what was the club in, that was it, Amazura, the club in Queens where Trump's from, Trumpet Town, New Orleans, Trump Tower, Amazura, all rituals, 45s back in 2025. Anyway, coming back to the Dodgers World Series, the Rig World Series by the numbers, which again, we called from spring training like we've done almost, I've literally called the World Series almost every single year since I started in what year was the 111th World Series? That was the first year I made a prediction. We had the Mets that year to be in the World Series in spring training. We saw why they would lose once the World Series came around to the Royals, synced up with the Queen born on the 111th day of the year when New York's won 11 as well. But if you guys weren't with us that year, I even had the only game the Mets won, 3-9. I had the score, Mets to win that game, 3-9. New York, look, you guys. I mean, here's how there is a reason why I had the score 3-9. You see how New York's won 11 and 39. Remember the 111th World Series ended after Matt Garvey's 111th pitch on November 1st. That's how scripted it is. But all day that day, they were talking about the guy who came down in a parachute in the 86 World Series. All day, all the media was so focused on that. I was like, look how parachute equals 39 like New York. I said, I see a 3-9 score here. Mets 3-9. Boom. Anyway, that's how it is, you guys. Predictive programming, rig games, rig news, rig fires. You can keep down, but we've been doing this for every year since all the way back then. Anyway, 111 from October 30th to January 7th, the day the fires began, was 69 days later, or a span of 70. The span of 70 matters too, because fire is 70. Okay. But 69 days later, you see how World Series is 57 and 69? Numbers that come up all the time with the World Series, including this year's. When the Astros lost to Atlanta in the World Series, they got their 69th all-time postseason loss. Atlanta 69. You can see why we thought Atlanta might also be in the 120th World Series if it wasn't the Dodgers. But they did sync the whole season up with Steve Garvey, the former Dodger. Not to mention they killed Pete Rose 83 days before Steve Garvey's birthday. Remember the first photo they put out of Pete Rose's death on ESPN was him standing in front of Steve Garvey. It was 83 days from Steve Garvey's birthday. Pete Rose dead at 83 on 83, 8 numerology. Election equals 83, like murder. The only thing that surprised me was Steve Garvey didn't win the election. But yeah, the song Murder by Numbers, where it's the sport of the elected, that came out by the Police in 1983. Anyway, hopefully you can follow, and I'm not throwing in too many things here, but just like to lace the post with all the other things we've been talking about. I can see how the whole web of this evil deceit comes through this Kabbalistic code, how they mock your ass every single day and make it so obvious once you know what you're looking at. But anyway, the point I was making, when the Astros lost to the Braves the year after they killed Hank Aaron, another one we had right in spring training. We only had Atlanta that year to win the World Series. They started playing in Truist Park that year. That was the 117th World Series. Truist Park 117. But again, Atlanta 69, like World Series is 69. The Astros lost to Atlanta. And then you had the Astro World tragedy, and then Astro of UB40 died, and then a year to the day later, the Astros won the World Series. But anyway, the Astros picked up their 69th loss in the postseason all time as a franchise, losing the World Series to Atlanta. Remember the year they lost to the Nationals in the World Series? That was a massive 3-2-2 ritual, by the way. But that year, the Astros picked up their 57th all-time postseason loss. Nationals equals 138, like their manager, Dave Martinez, like Donald Trump, like Federal. Trump hired the Nationals announcer for Inauguration Day when he won the election the first time, and we said the Nationals would likely win the World Series while he was president. When the Nationals won, it was exactly 138 days after Trump's birthday. And if you go back and look at the box score, you'll even see that the Nationals had 159 pitches in the game. Donald Trump 138, 159, just like how the second shooting hoax this year at Trump was on 15/9, while the Secret Service was 159 years old on September 15th. If you go back and look, that same night that the Nationals won the World Series over the Astros, the Houston Rockets, back when James Harden was there, beat the Washington Wizards with 159 points. We had a nice little doubleheader that night. We had the Nationals to beat the Astros before the World Series even began. Doubled down on it in Game 7, where they were a huge payout because they were a huge underdog. We knew that they were picking up that 57th loss. It doesn't fail. You know how many wins the Dodgers have in the World Series right now? In the games they've played in their 24 World Series, you know how many wins they have right now? They have 57. They also have 71 losses, like this fire began on 7-1. They're 57 and 71 in games played in the World Series. You know how many days after the World Series it was, or after Dave Roberts' birthday it was, that the World Series began this year? 147. The Yankees had the best run differential in baseball this year in the regular season, plus 147. So we said, we had a future for Yankees-Dodgers in July, but then we doubled down on it once we saw that. So look at that. The Yankees finished the year plus 147. So anyway, World Series and wildfires, both 57. World Series also 69 days. 69 days after the Dodgers win the Rig World Series with the guy born in Japan, Dave Roberts, with the Japanese star Ohtani, after they sacrifice all the base stealers. Again, by the way, if I didn't say so already, the Dodgers just won the 120th World Series, and they now have 120 wins in the postseason since they moved to Los Angeles in 1958 from Brooklyn. And notice how many losses they have in the postseason, too. They have 116. They just won the 120th and 116th World Series since Kobe died. You know, and the year that they won the 116th, they won it over Tampa, Florida, 116. That was the year that Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady Jr. went down to Florida at age 43, like how he took over the NFL in the time of number 43, the Skull and Bones member who was in Florida the day that 9/11 happened and the election. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady Jr. went down to Tampa, and then they went to 3 championships. Tampa won the Stanley Cup. Bucks won the Super Bowl. Rays lost to the Dodgers in the 116th World Series after Mookie Betts came over on 4-2 from Boston, Tom Brady land. African Americans won 16, like Barack Hussein Obama, the first African American president, which also equals 64, like the year of the Civil Rights Act. But yeah, again, you guys, we talk about the same things every single year. Last year, Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Rangers, gets his 57th win in the postseason, winning the World Series, winning the 119th World Series with the Rangers, the Bush family's team. And I didn't call it in spring training, but I did call it after game one of the Rangers upsetting Philly 11-7, 267 days after Bush's birthday, when Philly's the 267 area code. We saw the Rangers had 50-1 odds, and that was a major league ritual, winning 11-7. Here, you guys, Major League Baseball, 117. Remember when they did Roy Halladay dirty off the coast of Holiday, Florida on November 7th, the day leaving 54 days left in the year, when baseball's 54 forwards and backwards, and there's 54 outs in a game, and there's a 162 game season, and there's 18 half innings. Anyway, I do. Same numbers year after year. Same numbers year after year. Just talking about the same stuff over and over. But again, that whole World Series last year, the 119th, was synced with Bush, who was the president when 9/11 happened, when the Yankees lost to the Snake team, the Diamondbacks. Think about how the Diamondbacks have only been in 2 World Series, the one right after the 11-9 ritual, the 11th of September, and then the 119th World Series where they lose to Bush's Rangers. Bush threw out the first pitch for that World Series. The World Series ended 4-1, like Skull and Bones 41, 119 days after his birthday, as Bochy gets his 57th win. Again, same stuff over and over and over and over and over. So this year, the Dodgers do another World Series ritual by the numbers. Another wildfire begins. Here's my post from 2020. 90,000 people told to evacuate because of wildfires in Southern California. This was right after they won the World Series. So this was the 116th. Been going on. It's been going on. Yeah, it's too bad that my channel's been deleted 1,000 times, because I'd have several videos about this over the years, just talking about the fires and the World Series in Southern California. It's the same thing again. It's the exact same thing. Get 71 losses in the World Series. Just perfect for the 7-1 fire. And again, you could also say it was a span of 70 days. It was crazy how many different ways they paid tribute to Jackie Robinson in this World Series. You got to love that they won the last one 7-6 in a 4-1 series against Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death, who are modeled after the Templars and the Illuminati. Again, the Jesuits founded the Illuminati and have the Templar cross in the middle of their logo. Jackie Robinson Day or even just Jack Robinson is also 76. And it's also 50, like how we had Power and Stole bases. Ohtani set in the 50-50 club this year. But you see how Jackie Robinson Day is also 76. Again, big number with Black history. Negro equals 76, slave 76, blues 76, Rasta 76, Barack Obama 76. The 44th book of the Bible, Acts 7:6, about 400 years of slavery. Obama's movie about the destruction of the nation was 76 is all over. Early last year, the cell phone outages, and the news media compared it to Obama's movie, When the Leave the World Behind, and it was 76 days after it premiered on Netflix that they did that. This country founded in 1776, like the Illuminati. Look how the Dodgers scored 42 runs against the Yankees all year. Jackie. They paid tribute to 42 in every single game. I covered it at the time. I can't remember all the rituals now, but every single game they paid tribute to 42. They gave up 34 runs, 76 total runs. The word black alone is 34. 34 plus 42 is obviously 76. This is why they always say to you, they couldn't have scripted it any better. Where are these athletes always going after they win championships? They're going to Disneyland. What's Disney make? Theater, scripts. Mookie Betts drove in Tommy Edman for the 42nd and final run after he went to the Dodgers in a 42 ritual. I was down in New Orleans at the time when that trade happened, educating about how many people died for Joe Burrow's championship in 2020 for LSU over Clemson. The Billy Cannon Bowl. Number 21 closed out the game for the Dodgers. Jackie. The Dodgers scored 25 runs in the World Series. You got to wonder, You got to wonder. Fire begins on the 97th day of the mayor's age, 25th prime. Tommy Edmonds wears 25, scored the 25th run for the record. The Dodgers, 49 runs in the series. Dodgers stayed on 49 losses versus the Yankees all time. 44th win will make you wonder. The World Series, again, ended 138 days after Trump's birthday. And the same player who was the MVP when the Nationals beat the Astros, synced with Trump. The guy who went to the Mets, I can't even think of his name right now. But yeah, just 138 days after Trump's birthday. His full name, Donald John Trump, 76. Rigged sports, rigged elections, rigged government. Dodgers went 11-5 in the election. Trump's a draft dodger who dodged a bullet. Again, these are all the signs. We've been saying for years why Trump was going to win, but they synced up a lot of sports stuff with Trump against what they do year after year. You know what I get sick of is just like how people will look at something like the Flames being in town to play the Kings and how they have to cancel the game or reschedule it because of the fires. People be like, man, what a coincidence. Man, another weird coincidence. Throw that word out of your vocabulary. There are such a thing as a coincidence. This stuff you see in the mainstream is never coincidence. It's the evidence of the script. As all the sports dopes keep saying, how do you script a sports game? I don't know. Haven't they been writing about it for centuries? Don't you know about the Chicago Blackhawks? Don't you know about all the fixed boxing matches from the 1800s up to now? I mean, did they make a movie about Russell Crowe and Gladiator with Commodus? You know, how they'd even cheat in the Coliseum, wound the people before the fight to make the other person look more impressive. I mean, how do you rig a sports game? How much are these guys paid, by the way? How much loyalty do they have to the cities? How many people on your city's team have a player that's even from the city? Oh, hardly any. Do these guys seem like they're more about money and fame and what comes with that, or winning? I mean, you can't see the ritualism. Number 59 walks off the field early in the 49ers game, 59 days before Super Bowl 59, and he's got to be a black man, a little more black shaming. Hey, he played at University of Minnesota. It just reminds me how the Chiefs won Super Bowl IV over Minnesota and New Orleans, and certain chief whose whole career is scripted by the numbers. You guys remember last year how you kept seeing the State Farm bundle ads, bundle. Last year was Super Bowl 58, the 104th NFL season. The whole thing synced with Taylor Allison Swift, where the media is telling you conspiracy theorists are saying that the NFL is rigging games for Taylor Allison Swift. Well, they just say Taylor Swift, and even just Swift alone is 58 for the record. But yeah, they were, and we took well advantage of it. Patted our pockets some more. But again, if you go back and look, you'll see that the year that Mahomes became the starter for Kansas City, remember his dad was a pro baseball player. The year that he became the starter for Kansas City, the Royals that year went 58 and 104. And that's not an accident. This year, the ad was Bundle Ruski. For almost the whole season, Andy Reid was on 145 regular season losses. You know how many days after Super Bowl 59 is 145 days after Mahomes' birthday. Do you remember the 103rd NFL season where the Super Bowl was in State Farm Arena? Of course, Mahomes does the State Farm ads, and he went into the Super Bowl 10-3 in the playoffs, and then he won and became 11-3 over the Eagles. Insurance, right? Man, insurance is a racket. Pro sports are a racket. Our government's a racket. Look how all these things kind of work together, too. Fire synced up with the sports game, synced up with rising costs for Americans who don't have a clue about any of this because they're invested in the wrong things like entertainment. Like, what kind of society values entertainment over knowledge? Do you want me to answer that question for you? It's a simple answer. The answer is a society of fucking retards. It's the one we live in. Dave Roberts, the World Series ended 152 days after his birthday. The Dodgers stayed on 152 postseason losses all time. The big thing was going on with Biden and Kamala. Joe Biden also equals 152. Do you remember when the Chiefs went to the White House this year? They went to the White House on the 152nd day of the year. Joe Biden 152. Patrick Mahomes 152. What are the top records in the NFL this year? Are the Lions 15-2 and the Chiefs 15-2? Is that right? Chiefs lost 0-38 with all their starters benched to the 38th state, Colorado, and then they became plus 59 in scoring differential going into the playoffs the year of Super Bowl 59. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. If anyone wants to know just how to look up these things, not hard. You just go to a place like ESPN, where they mock your ass every day. Bad beats at the end of the night. Chiefs point differential for the year after the 0-38 defeat versus the 38th state that equals 38, where we've patted our pockets a gazillion times off Colorado 38 rituals. But you can see nobody else is plus 59 in point differential in the year. But again, just come back to Mahomes and Goff and how they faced each other on Monday Night Football after Paradise in LA burned up back in 2018, the year that Mahomes first started, where a lot of his scripts trace back to. Again, the 105 record points in a game, now in the 105th season. But yeah, both these teams were 15-2. And again, the Chiefs did go to the White House on the 152nd day of the year. And the only two teams that started 4-0 were the Chiefs in Minnesota, like that was Super Bowl 4 in New Orleans. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes 152. Remember even the White House being at Pennsylvania Avenue. Andy Reid used to coach the Eagles in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania 152. Joe Biden, Kamala Devi Harris, pass the torch. They had Snoop Dogg with the same birthday as Kamala running with the torch at the Olympics, passing the torch. As Joe Biden was passing the torch. You know, all this stuff is connected. Again, the Dodgers record this year was 109-69. World Series 69 days later, LA's on fire. But again, 109 days after the shooting hoax, Yankees, Los Angeles. Again, 3 times now, the last 3 times that the Dodgers beat the Yankees, a president got shot in that year. The last 2 times, they were both Hollywood actors as well who ran on Mega, who were lifelong Democrats who converted to the Republican Party just in time for their political careers. I mean, can you say 2 wings of the same bird? Can you say political theater? You guys know that Mega is the highest degree of the Church of Satan, right? Because it is. You can look that up. Very easy. You can also go back to April 30th, 2011, the Church of Satan's 45th birthday. You know where Trump was that day? He was at the White House with Obama, as Obama told the joke about how Trump would become number 45 on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday, 45 days before Trump's own birthday. You know, yesterday I was in the grocery store, you guys. I almost pulled out my phone and just made a live video of just like verbally assaulting someone who lives in my town. I would have looked like a psychopath, but I just felt like doing it. I felt like it might have been finally a viral video, because here's why I felt like doing it. Just like not beating the guy up, but just verbally going off on him. I'd never seen a body that looked so pathetic. And then it was also the t-shirt he had on. But I can't, this guy looked like a cartoon character. I was just staring at him while I was waiting because he was next in line. I was like, how do you make your body look like this? It seemed impossible. He had a gut that probably came out at least 3 feet. And that's not an exaggeration. It just like pointed straight out. But his arms, like you'd think some of the, he just weird, some people have weird bodies. You think some of his fat would have went to his arms. He had arms that were just toothpicks. He had these toothpick arms. They look like, like literally my infant daughter had thicker arms than this guy. Just these toothpick arms, this huge fat gut. And then he has the Trump t-shirt on with Trump pumping his fist under the flag with never surrender. And I just thought, look at this fucking loser. And again, I'm not wrong either. I mean, it is pathetic to be fooled by this orange goon, this proud pussy grabber, this total fraud who ushered in communism, going along with the banker scam of 2020. And it's sad all the dipshits who go along with it and can't see through any of it. They think this guy's some kind of hero. No, but just seeing this wimpy, fat slob with a Trump never surrender t-shirt. It's like I said, can they bring on the Deagle report already? Can they make it happen? Because it's overdue. Again, the Dodgers' 8th World Series in their 24th attempt, 4-1, as they become 120 and 116 since moving to LA in the postseason after they've now won the 120th and 116th World Series in the wake of Kobe's death. You guys know Kobe died in the 74th NBA season too, right? Killing and a little Jesus ritual, little sun ritual on Sunday. Oh yeah, and then they even rolled the credits at the. I didn't have my phone up to capture it all, but this is what they did at the end of the World Series right here. You don't even need to hear the sound. They just had it rolling, like here. D26 is desperately trying to call in. D26, what's up?
Can you like get me in the stream? I'm like waiting for like 1 hour, but I also like I wanted to sleep, but
okay, yeah. Here, I'll get you in. I'll get you in. Absolutely. All right, take care. All right, we got a D26 sighting. He's always got a great observation. What's up, D26?
Well, today is the first time I can say that I feel what you felt about like over near 2 years ago.
Hold on. Sorry, I had the sound off. Go ahead from the beginning.
Okay. Today I feel what you used to say me about 18 months or 2 years ago when you said like where your first of your criticism about me was I should be systematic with my presentations. So I joined your stream like when you were like 20 minutes in the live stream, and I catch up to this news because I was busy the entire day, and I was like, I wind up all my work and I'm ready to sleep, and I see that you're also early, so I was like, okay, today I will be getting my sleep finally. But anyways, I was waiting in the back room for like 1 hour or something. But I got good observations, so I will need like at least 10 minutes. We'll have come to there's 1201 find as well, but we'll come to that later. First of all, did you notice that the fire started on 7th of Jan, correct? So did you make the connection that Gavin Newsom became the governor on 7th of Jan 2019?
I overlooked that.
That is exactly 6 years or 72 weeks, like the Jesuit order. Also, it is also 313 weeks plus 1 day because we had a what do we call it? A leap year. So 313 weeks. If you write Gavin Newsom's full name, Gavin Christopher Newsom, that equals 313. And 313 is the 65th prime. That's the opposite of Gavin Newsom, equals 56. Also, his full name also equals 119, which you also covered in yours, which you mentioned about 119 with the ancient mystery religions and all that. So, apart from that, I think the big one, which will be, I will send a link on the private chat if you can add that on the screen. It's a piece from the LA Times, the current, the website that I was checking for live updates. So it's on the private chat, the LA Times article, and you can see they have written a name that is the the chief of the fire department of Los Angeles Fire Department. Notice her name. She is the first female and the LGBTQ fire chief of LAFD, Los Angeles Fire Department. Her name equals 201. Kristen Crowley.
Crowley?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, wait, hold on. You know what? I will. Yeah, that name is.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? The last windstorm in LA that they're comparing this windstorm to happened on the anniversary of the death of Aleister Crowley, December 1st. Yeah, Kristen Cali, 201, 177, just like the Jesuit order. Go figure.
Also, so officially, okay, I don't know if they have changed the name or so. They have refreshed the website. Maybe that's why it's not showing to you. But this is the exact word on their website, exact letters on their. Give me a second. Kristen Crowley. Okay, got it. I'm posting it on the private chat. So that is what it was written on the LA Times. If you can read it on the private chat, It was written as Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Christian Crowley. If we decode that specific what they've written on the early times, that equals 216 and 666. And we know Crowley had the obsession with 777 and 666. And what is also interesting is that Crowley was born on 12th of October. So if we take his from his birthday, the start of the fire is the 88th day, and there are a lot of 88 connections that you made in your presentation, but there, which is also interesting. We'll come to the 88 part because you have covered the 8 part, so I will not go repeat the 88 part. But it's interesting that his death is on 1st of December. I'm talking about Aleister Crowley. So from Aleister Crowley's death, the fire starts the 38th day of his death day, and we know that Crowley equals 38. We know energy equals 38. Death equals 38. Fire equals 38. And Pharos equals death and fire both equals 25, just like the year. And you also mentioned about 120, like Illuminati. His full name, Edward Alexander Crowley, that equals 120. And since he has a lot of, most people, I think, more than half of the people in this community must have aware about Crowley and his work. He had a lot of Egyptian symbolism and various religions, various ancient cultures, including Hinduism and Egyptian mythology and all that. So if you look up the god of fire and the sun, that equals 119, which is often it's disputed because the sun god in Egyptian mythology is Ra. Ra equals 19, like chaos. Also 17, like the date 17. And Egyptian equals 38, like how his the death starts 38 days after his death. And oh yeah, Los Angeles Fire Department, that equals 263, like the 56 prime. And again, Christian Crowley, that is true. I don't know, what pronoun should I give it to her, but she's the 19th fire chief of LAFD, and 19 as you mentioned, chaos equals 19. And the California Fire Department has this, I don't know what's it called, abbreviation as Cal Fire. Hold on, that's a department. Hold on, it's the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. So they are the ones also heavily into this, and that equals 54 and 36, like IHS and Jesuit order, typical numbers. And yeah, she was. I was going to cover that. I was just doing like some decodes on that. I don't think that will have any that will add anything to this decode of yours. But yeah, I did mention. I did find that she was appointed 7 weeks after the then mayor of California of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, on 25th of March. So that was 7 weeks after his birthday on 4th of Feb. And this year, the fire starts 77 days before her anniversary of becoming the first female and the LGBTQ fire chief of the LAFD. And so yeah, lot of sevens and all that stuff. And I remember Eric Garcetti because he's right now the current U.S. ambassador to India since 2023. So I think his full name equals 206, and he's the 26th ambassador of India right now. And so far, I think I've got this much only, but yeah, the most interesting, the most common, the most first thing that I found was 7th of Jan is like that's when he became governor. And if I do find something else, I will let you know. But yeah, this was unexpected. The fire chief. Oh yeah, what's interesting is that I'll give you another news article. Hold on. The Daily Wire had covered this today. Again, it's on the private chat. The guess what is, I don't know what is she high on or something, but the fire chief is saying for them the DEI is a top priority.
Yeah, obviously, if you're hiring a lesbian fire chief,
I've added that. I've added that on the private chat. That's the Daily Wire.
I mean, that's why society's just gotten stupid. I mean, a fireman should be a strong person. You got to carry people. So I mean, a lesbian. Listen, no, maybe I can make an argument for why you might want to hire a butch lesbian over a typical woman, because some of them are strong and more masculine. But I mean, we're talking about it's just the whole. This is the whole problem with society, guys. We got away from nature. Again, there is a natural order to humanity. There's a reason why back in the day, when things were about nature, the men went out and did the fighting. Again, men are the stronger species, or at least historically. You start looking at guys like I saw in the grocery store yesterday. I mean, I'd probably take her over him, but that doesn't look like a man. That looks like a guy who lived his whole life playing video games and watching TV and never lifted a weight in his life or done anything athletic. Just a fat loser worshiping an orange goon. And again, I mean, yeah, it's a sad time we live in. But yeah, great find as always, D26. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do agree what you said regarding the genders. It doesn't matter whether they are lesbian or not. But yeah, the excuse is really ridiculous what she's giving, and that's what people don't get it. I don't know what people are saying that. Anyways, I think that's it for now. That's it. If I do find something else, I have found something else. It's not regarding to this current decode, but yeah, I found something regarding the Crusades. The other day, I was just finding myself went to the loopholes of that, and we'll probably do some live stream if I do get time next week or maybe this weekend. I just don't find what is the correct time so I can have at least few people in the live stream. So I don't know what is the proper time in US, because when I go live, it's usually midday for you, or like very early morning for you, like from people like
Here,
across the US.
sorry, I have to comment to somebody in the chat. The person trying to make an argument that with the techniques they teach, any person can carry another person. Just if you're trying to make that argument, it's like, are you being serious? Do you think a 110-pound woman can carry as much as a 250-pound man? I understand there's techniques that help women. It's just like you go to martial arts, you have women in the class, they learn how to do the throws too, but they don't have as much strength. I mean, is this a serious argument? That's what's wrong with society. Just even leaving that comment like, oh, well, you must not be aware that they learn a technique, so anybody can carry anybody. Yeah, have you ever gone out in life and seen how much weight a 110-pound woman can lift compared to a 250-pound man? Stop. Oh, okay. Anything else, D26?
Nothing so far. I think. Thank you for having me. If I do find out, I'll join again. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it, man. Great work as
Have a
always.
good day.
You get some rest. Thank you. All right, let's get Tony up here. What's up, Tony?
Yo, Zach. I just wanted to point out that I was reading a Times of Israel article, and it said 1,900 buildings in LA have been destroyed. I know 19 is like a key number right now.
19 is the chaos code, and again, it's just like how this fire chief just happens to be the 19th. The 19th fire chief as Los Angeles suffers its worst fire. And just about numbers too, you guys. Look how when she became chief, she was a 22-year veteran of the Los Angeles Fire Department. 22, that's the master builder number. Look what day she became the chief. In the year 2022, but also on the date March 25th. That date's written 25/3 in the majority of the world, like 253. If you had 1 through 22 together, it equals 253. 253 is the 22nd triangular number. Again, just the elites, the authorities operating by this numerology code. Why do they do that? Because most of these things are Masonic. What is the Masonic phrase? All is number. Well, what do the Masons study? The Bible, the Torah specifically. What's the 4th book of the Bible called? Numbers. That's why I get so annoyed of everyone rolling their eyes at this information when it's obvious this is what's going on, and you can look at it from a gazillion different angles by just doing your own research and prove it every single day. And yeah, this whole Chief Crowley thing, and compared to the last fire that happened on Aleister Crowley's death anniversary, it's just like, come on, man.
You know about the ritual that Parsons and Crowley performed at, I think it's called Hell's Gate in Pasadena, right?
What is it about Crowley and Hell's Gate?
It was in Pasadena. It was Crowley and Parsons. They performed like a ritual for the Moonchild at Hell's
There's
Gate.
some kind of noise coming in the background. Is that you?
Yeah, sorry, I'm at work. Yeah, but it's called Hell's Gate, I believe. It was Jack Parsons. He performed the ritual with Crowley there, and it's where he got the idea for the Book of the Antichrist.
All right, and the fire that happened in 2011 hit Pasadena, so I didn't know about this. That's a great find. Jack Parsons, Crowley, Hell's Gate, California. Yeah. Look this up.
If you get a Devil's Gate, there it is. If you get a chance, read the Book of the Antichrist by Jack Parsons. That thing is trippy as hell.
I wonder if this is near the Diablo Canyon Dam then.
Nah, Diablo Canyon's up north.
Okay. Yeah, I got to look more into this whole thing.
Yeah, but the Book of the Antichrist, man, that'll trip you out. Parsons talks about the rituals they performed.
All right, yeah, that's a good piece of history. There's definitely got to be something with this. So.
And Parsons' exploded house is in Pasadena. Like, the relics of his house are still there. Not sure how Parsons ties into it, but maybe.
All right, I got to find out exactly what date it happened. Okay, I appreciate that piece of information. I'll look more into it.
Thank you, Zach.
All right, thanks, man. Take care. Okay. Yeah, again, what the cabal does, it's all paying tribute to a web of history. And that's what I mean. Here, the song that Ozzy Osbourne did about Aleister Crowley, I want you to see this. I have an old post on this. I want you to see when they started recording this song, coming back to where we started with 322. Ozzy Osbourne equals 201 for the record. Again, on the Jesuit Order's anniversary being recognized, that's when the bassist for Metallica died while they were on tour with Ozzy Osbourne. Somehow that he was the only guy who died in the crash. Everyone else was just fine. That's how you know the whole story's a load of shit. Ozzy Osbourne, Crowley here. Pull this old post up. So I'm sure you know Ozzy Osbourne from Black Sabbath. Some of you guys probably know him from watching MTV. But they began recording the song about Aleister Crowley on March 22nd. And look what day they ended recording, April 19th. That's the anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola becoming the first superior general. But again, just the lyrics to this song, you know. Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead? Your lifestyle to me seems so tragic with the thrill of it all. You fooled all of the people with magic. Yeah, you waited on Satan's call. Mr. Charming, did you think you were peer? Mr. Alarming in nocturnal rapport, uncovering things that were sacred, manifest on this earth. Oh, conceived in the eye of a secret. Yeah, and they scattered the afterbirth. Mr. Crowley, won't you ride my white horse? Mr. Crowley, it's symbolic, of course. I'm pretty sure hold on. Did they have the Broncos playing last year on his death anniversary? Remember talking about something like this. Yeah, they did. So the Broncos beat the Chargers. Obviously, the Broncos are a white horse. Yeah, I remember talking about this. The Broncos, see, you pay attention, you see how the NFL, again, who's American football credited to? Walter Camp, who was a member of Yale Skull and Bones. Again, who was also a Freemason. You pay attention, you see the rituals. You see how both teams became 4-8, like Illuminati's 48? Mr. Crowley, won't you ride my white horse? Mr. Crowley, it's symbolic, of course. Approaching a time that is classic, I hear the maiden's call. Approaching a time that is drastic, standing with their backs to the wall. So, again, just, you know, you got all these songs out in the popular culture. And again, being an open-minded person, I do lean more towards they're using advanced technology to make these things happen. But seriously, like, how real is magic and sorcery? Is it possible? What if you found out it was sorcery that they were doing this through? I might throw in the towel at that point. Be like, okay, these people are too damn evil, and I don't know how to contend with sorcery. Off with their heads. Maybe we need to bring back the real witch burnings and just get rid of all these authority types. You want to be an authority over humanity? You're going in the inferno. There will be no more authority. Here's the new code, a one-page constitution. It's just the golden rule. Treat other people the way you might want to be treated. If you can't, then you're open game to get your ass whooped and worse. Yeah, just talking about all the same stuff. Look at all the same stuff. Now, Gavin Newsom signing $322 billion budgets 119 days after the state's birthday. Did you guys see the ritual they did with Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast, the supposed super YouTuber, he got engaged to a girl who wrote the book The Marked Children on the Big Beast ritual date. These are the people influencing our youth. Mr. Beast, whose name also equals 666, like Mr. Crowley. Now he's engaged to the author of The Marked Children. Nice. YouTube says that they delete my channels and censor me because I put out dangerous information. Meanwhile, Mr. Beast with The Marked Children's getting super pushed. This is why we cannot have authorities telling us what is right, what is fair, what is just, what is safe, what is not. People have never been looking out for you. It's been manipulating your ass. Oh, yeah, I forgot how they did Randy Rhoads dirty, too. Randy Rhoads. Yeah, it was another sacrifice along the way for Black Sabbath. That, and also the bassist for Metallica while they were touring with Ozzy. Okay. Yeah. Again, as I started with, the very first thing I started with was a big part of this agenda is to skyrocket insurance so you can own nothing and be happy. That's what they're telling us today, how the home insurance fits in with the 71 ritual. All right, I got to do some more research on the Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley thing because I know there's some important information there, no doubt about it. Was there anybody else who wanted to hop on this stream? If not, I'm going to wrap it up. Let me read these super chats. Gematria is key 123 said you should look into Lana Del Rey's song "The Greatest" that came out in 2019 that mentions Hawaii and Los Angeles on fire. Okay, let's do it real quick. She got that 21/6 birthday. I don't know who this girl is. I never heard of her. Lana Del Rey. The Greatest. I know there's another artist that sings the song "The Greatest." She wanted to be the greatest. I can't remember who that was. I had an ex-girlfriend that liked that girl, and too many years ago, I can't remember who she was. It wasn't Lana Del Rey, though. I wonder if this is a cover of the same song. That song came out on September 13th. That's the day leaving 109 days left in the year, isn't it? It's the anniversary of the assault weapons ban. Yeah, 109 days left in the year. Just in case you guys didn't know this, the reason they did the assault weapons ban that year, 2 years before they took out Tupac by the numbers with gun violence, after he did the Regulators, or he was one of the main actors in Above the Rim with the Regulators song on the soundtrack. But or it's gun control. I'm tripping. Gun control is 139. No, there's something to assault weapons ban too. Assault weapons. Oh yeah, assault weapons ban is 256. The assault weapons ban was on the 256th day of the year, September 13th. Gun control 139, like 13/9, kind of like Tupac Shakur, 139. And they killed Tupac on White Jesus' birthday, Caesar Borgia, and then they put out the Machiavelli album when Machiavelli wrote The Prince based on Caesar Borgia, and then Prince dies by the numbers, and then 2 weeks later, Tupac's mom's death is announced on May 3rd, the real Machiavelli's birthday. She died the day before, but the news didn't break until the real Machiavelli's birthday. Just like how Machiavelli came out 53 days after Tupac died. It's a religion thing. White Jesus, Tupac on the cross, like Jesus on the Machiavelli album. Not to mention Tupac equals 74, like the Tupac's also 61. Tupac 61 and 74, like Jesus, like cross. Machiavelli, the way they spell it, 74. Here, I wanted to look up the lyrics. Where's the lyrics for this song? Does it have it here? I miss Long Beach and I miss you, babe. I miss dancing with you the most of all. I miss the bar where the Beach Boys would go. Dennis' last stop before Kokomo. This is different than the other greatest song I was thinking of. Those nights were on fire. We couldn't get higher. We didn't know that we had it all. But nobody warms you before the fall. And I'm wasted. Don't leave. I just need a wake-up call. That's what humanity needs is a wake-up call. Too much entertainment. That's why they don't get it. Too tuned into the entertainment, not getting the information, not getting the knowledge, listening to all the wrong people in all the wrong places. You know, right now in the news, they're like, we are going to find out who set these fires. Probably in a couple of weeks, they'll probably blame it on some kid out of a group home. It was him. He did it. This 13-year-old. You've seen that a few with some of these suspicious fires. They end up blaming it on some teenager. It's like, I don't think that's what happened. Unless it's like that Utopia show where they're raising kids to do evil things. Some raised teenager to set the fire. I don't know. The culture is lit, and I had a ball. I guess I'm signing off after all. I miss New York, and I miss the music. Me and my friends, we miss rock and roll. I want shit to feel just like it used to, and baby, I was doing nothing. The most of all, the culture is lit. Blah blah blah. Where's the Hawaii part? I'm wasted. Don't leave. I just need a wake up call. Oh, Hawaii just missed a fireball. Okay, LA is in flames. Okay, it's the end of the song. It's getting so hot. Kanye West is blonde and gone. Okay, hold on. That's getting too weird because remember, Hawaii burned up on August 8th. We see where the 88 is in this California ritual, synced up with the Maui fire. And remember, Hawaii burned up the week of hip-hop's 50th birthday, and Hawaii's the 50th state. It's the 808 area code, and the 808 area code was established on 8/8. And that reminds me that the word rapper is 88 as well. But hip-hop was based on the 808 drum machine, which came out of Japan, not far from Hawaii. And, of course, Japan got nuked, and Hawaii burned up at the time of the anniversary of the Nagasaki bombing in 45, when hip-hop's 45. It was a little bit before hip-hop music was created, obviously. But, again, the way these people pay tribute to history and culture and do put it out there in music, that is pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting lyrics. Hold on. It's just bothering me. Who's the other girl who sings the greatest? It's not Sia. That's not who I'm thinking of either. How many girls have a song named The Greatest? It's not Kenny Rogers. Billie Eilish has The Greatest, huh? Okay, she's the one that did the song about the music video with LA burning up. Damn. I can't. It's not Michelle Williams. It's not Taylor Swift. I saw they played Imagine at Jimmy Carter's funeral after they took him out by the numbers. Again, Joe Biden's up there talking about Jimmy Carter and his wife. Jimmy Carter's wife died the day before Joe Biden's birthday. Jimmy Carter, number 39, dies 39 days after Joe Biden's latest birthday. Man, this girl that has the song The Greatest is getting no respect. Oh, man, I can't even think who she is. Man, don't make a song called The Greatest. You won't even show up in the Google search. All right, it doesn't matter. I'll look that up later. All right, here, let me see what the latest is before we sign off. We're still going with the apocalyptic scenes as they use Revelation like a playbook. Again, first book I ever tried to write was called Revelation and the Birth of a Nation. It was about how they were using revelation to shape America. I might have never finished that book, but the point stands. Trump and Obama chatted Carter's funeral. I wonder if they discussed how America still doesn't get the mega joke on the Church of Satan's birthday. I wonder if that was part of the conversation. All right, that's CNN. Let's see how Fox covers it. LA mayor gives critical update on devastating fires, tussles with reporter over lack of preparation. See how MSNBC covers it. What firefighters in Los Angeles wish more people knew? Is it Gematria? That's what I think more people need to know. Maybe we could stop this. Over 100,000 people evacuate LA as fires rage uncontrolled. Let's see how the BBC covers it. LA mayor says winds and drought created perfect storm. Yeah, it was perfect. It was another perfect storm, perfectly executed. Was it technology or was it sorcery? That's the question I'm left with here. Let's see, ABC News. See how they cover it. Death toll expected to rise as wildfires rage in California. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure at some point we'll see 25 as the new estimate. I'm sure that's coming. Hold on. What's this one? Kentucky. Look at you guys. You see how Kentucky reaches $110 million deal? What do you think Kentucky equals? 110. 110. Every day, guys, you just look at all the headlines. It's just like this, man. I remember when Kroger had their 322 shooting rituals, 322 days between their two stores. One was in Colorado, one was in Washington State, 322 days later. And the one that was in Washington State was also 201 days after the anniversary of the Kroger founder's death. Not to mention the one in Colorado was the 38th state, and then the one in Washington State was on the 38th day of the year, and they said a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old. Again, I was on the scene for that one. Got to talk to Commander Chris Lee on the scene. You can still watch that video on BitChute. He was the guy all in the news for the Washington State mass shooting at the Kroger. And it was a Fred Meyer. Fred Meyer is the Kroger chain out here in Washington State. But again, you can hear Commander Chris Lee tell me that he was not allowed to go in there. He had not seen anything with his own eyes. He was reporting through the information he got through his cell phone. And he said the feds were in control of everything. And he did say, he said he understood why I was out there questioning everything. Almost like he was trying to say, you're on the right path, son. You're on the right path. I got to just get my paycheck out here and read the script through my cell phone to the media and be the talking point person. Again, you guys should watch that live stream. It's on my BitChute channel. We got to see how the news team on the ground was reporting from a Jesuit in New York who was giving them the details that they were reading off their phone and then reporting off on the scene that they knew what was going on in the Washington State per the Jesuit writing from New York. Got to see how this news operation really works. These people might be on the ground, but they're reporting from a studio across the United States. People not in the United States of America, Washington State is all the way on the opposite coast from New York. Here, what else do we got? CBS News. Let's see how they're covering it. CBS News, the all-seeing eye news network. Fires in California decimate Los Angeles area, leave apocalyptic scenes. Palisades, Eaton, Hearst, and Lydia. Lydia, that's a new one. Last night they were talking about. Wait a minute. What got dropped from the list? Oh, the Woodley fire is no longer up there. The Sunset fire is no longer up there. The Hollywood Hills fire is no longer up there. They brought it back down to 4 in LA, the 4 city. Going with Revelation 7:1 and the 4 corners and the 4 winds. There's probably something about this going on while Jimmy Carter's dead too, because Jimmy Carter really wanted to, stop, the climate catastrophes. Jimmy Carter, when he became president, put solar panels on the White House. You guys know what Ronald Reagan's first move was when he became president of the United States? Ronald Reagan's first order as president was to remove the solar panels. Like, why would you even do that? When I grew up in an era where everyone said Ronald Reagan was the greatest president ever, and I didn't know a fraction of what I knew back then, but I'd always say, well, one thing I knew about him is he said he wanted to make government so small he could strangle in a bathtub, and he made it way bigger than every other president combined. I mean, I think based on that right there, he couldn't possibly be the greatest. He went like 1,000,000% against his word. People love their Hollywood actor presidents. Trump's the greatest. Ushered in communism, went along with the banker scam. Helped proudly become the father of the experimental thing that, again, there's a lot of people with heart problems these days. Less people here, thanks to the father of the jam. Greatest of all time. I suppose if you're a loser. What other news networks are there? ABC, CBS, NBC News. I guess we saw NBC, the one partnered up with Bill Gates, Microsoft. And now they're saying Elon Musk might end up taking over MSNBC. It goes from Bill Gates to Elon Musk. Historic LA fires are still uncontained, with wind expected to worsen conditions. Before and after LA. Is that Hotel California? The Eagles better watch out. You can check in, but you can never leave. It is sad though, man. It's sad the way these people just destroy the environment, property, people's lives. And again, you guys, I mean, it's what's that phrase? The chicken's coming home to roost. Think about all the American. I think, like, seriously, right now, how many of these people you think that are impacted right now are people that probably demonize people like me? Didn't care two shits about all the brown people getting destroyed and slaughtered for the lies of 9/11. Haven't looked into anything. People like my sister who only watch the news and only believe what's on the news and hate everything else. My guess is 90% of them. And it doesn't make it right, but I mean, ignorance isn't bliss. It's only bliss until it's not. And then your house is on fire. So. All right. Thank you about the Lana Del Rey trip. Quite interesting. Abra says, you're absolutely right. I live in Encino, which is in between the fires. It is definitely strange activity. Appreciate that, Abra, if I'm saying that right. Thank you for your support. King Richard TV, yesterday, that would have been January 8th, was 119 days after the 11th of September, second day of the fire. And the Calgary Flames game would have been the 653rd. Is that for their franchise, or are you saying for the season? Maybe that was the 653rd game of the season. Impressive research. Yeah. Perfect. Paula the Kitchen Witch gifted a membership. Thank you again, Paula. So did Rick James. I think anytime Rick James sees Paula gift one, he's got to gift one too. I appreciate that. I like that competitive support of the channel. Thank you. Mr. Scott says, Zach, it's so confusing that most Americans don't believe that the U.S. uses weather warfare on its own people. They just, again, the United States of America banned weather warfare, the government, in 1980, but did they really? I just played that clip the other day of me calling into the congressman who, after the hurricanes, went on the news and said everyone who says that we can manipulate weather and hurricanes is out of their mind insane. And I said, well, isn't it funny that literally he started out in the 26th district of Florida, and it was literally his 26th birthday that weather warfare was banned? Do you think that's part of the joke of having him go in the media and say this? Again, I never got a call back from that office. The secretary did listen to me rant for about 10 minutes. I know she must have noted some of those things down. But like I said, you guys, it takes resources to make a difference in this world. And the problem is this world doesn't give enough. Again, I wish we could just play a greatest hits of everything I've said in the last 11 years. I told people, if you can't find $1 a month to support this work, you're going to end up getting driven to a cliff, and you're going to wish you had supported this work and made it what it should have been. Because now look at you. Now look how much your insurance costs all these years later. Imagine how we changed it. We could have changed the world years ago. I think we can change the world. If you get enough people to realize what we realize, this stuff's not going to fly anymore. Nobody's going to their rig selections. Nobody's going to their rig sports games. And instead of doing those things, instead of gathering on the weekend to watch a rig sports game, they're gathering to take down their local government. Slick Willie Gavin Newsom. He got decapitated a long time ago. And again, if we can get humanity to listen to each other and work together and use the technology of the times, again, I feel like we can agree to a better form of government. Not where we have authorities ruling over us, but like here's our code. This is the code of our land. We live by the golden rule. We are going to try and clean up the earth. Instead of being so gluttonous, look, we have all the resources here. We have nature. We can feed ourselves. The world is abundant with food. We just have to treat it right. Instead of living for all this materialism and shit, why don't we just go back and enjoy all the technology and abundance we have right now and become agricultural people? Why don't we tear out our lawns and grow organic produce right here in our yards? Why don't we stop spending all this tax money? We grind all throughout the year to spend between a third and half of our money on taxes, and a lot of it goes towards this crazy military shit. Like the stuff raining down out of the sky. Cobwebs coming down out of the sky. What is this stuff? I know a lot of people in recent years have been saying their tomatoes and other things they grow don't grow as well. That's because all the shit they're spraying up there. And then we're told that that's some kind of conspiracy theory too when it's happening right in front of our face. No, I'm tired of all this. Again, we have everything we need right here. If we can just get over all the materialism and bullshit, we have more than enough structures. We have more than enough technology. Again, do we need to be spending a gazillion dollars a month for our cell phone bill? Here, these people fucked us. Why don't we fuck them and get rid of them? And now we say, listen, here's the infrastructure. It already works. Now you have your cell phone. You don't need to upgrade a new one each year so that Apple's stock price can go through the roof for the few people like the Warren Buffetts who control almost the whole stock crop. Here, your phone, it lasts. It works. And now you don't have to pay $100 a month to have it work. It just works. Here, look, the service is always there no matter what. Again, I feel like this is what needs to happen, a revolution of the world. Here, instead of allowing these people to use all the technology to control us, we get rid of them, and then we just say, look, listen, the technology's already here. Here, we do need people to raise up and make sure the sewer systems keep working and the hot water stays on. People do that out of the goodness of their hearts. The knowledge is spread how to do it. Again, people find responsibility and taking care of themselves and their own community. I feel like these are the things that need to happen in the world. I don't know if it can, honestly, but I feel like it's instead of 50 Cent, get rich or die trying, it's like get free or die trying. Figure out how to work with your fellow man or die trying. Stop getting ruled over by tyrants or, until they burn up you and your house. You know what I mean? I remember when the Maui thing burned up, we were all over it. We had it all called out, perfectly identified. I remember there were a gazillion people getting all this attention, just doing bullshit ass videos, people sharing bullshit videos with me, these bullshit information that didn't mean anything about anything. We had it all figured out then. I was saying that. I said, you guys don't spread the information we're putting out. This is going to continue to go on, and everyone's going to continue to be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle and have no clue about who's doing it. What does it take for humanity to realize that the information here on this channel is correct? It's the Jesuits, the same ones that were warned about by the founders. Part of the reason you were given the rights to protect yourself from enemies, foreign and domestic, because the Jesuits are known as infiltrators. Here's Los Angeles on fire, perfectly synced with the superior general of the Jesuits and the Jesuit governor, who nobody even likes in that state. Is it just another coincidence? Because in Maui, it was when they put in the lieutenant governor Jesuit educated in California. Remember that their governor was out of state, so they had the Jesuit educated lieutenant governor there when the fires happened, and it was all synced with her. You really think all these things just continue to be a coincidence? Really? If you do, I mean, seriously, you deserve to be in that house when it burns up. Truly. King Richard came with another one. The LA fires began on Lana Del Rey's 201st day of her age. Wow. And she went to Fordham like Trump, huh? And now Trump's using this moment to say that Gavin Newsom should be removed. Wow. Lana Del Rey. That's crazy, man. June 21st. June 21st, 2024 to January 7th, the day the fires began. Yeah, so she's got the lyrics. This thing's synced up with Maui, as we already covered. 201, the number of the Jesuits and the Illuminati. The number of weather control as well. Again, you guys, weather control. The Jesuit order. For years, we've been talking about the patterns of 201 and crazy weather and the Jesuits, and the first act of weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday. Look at that. Look at that. And I call Fordham the 88 school too. There's a lot of 88 stuff with Fordham, yeah? Fordham University, Jesuit educated, went to the same damn place Trump went to. There's probably some joke in there with Cleveland too, because Trump's with all the 216 Cleveland, Ohio rituals and being the latest Grover Cleveland split-term president. Wild. Yeah, those Lana Del Rey lyrics are definitely not an accident. Definitely not an accident. Predictive programming. Yeah, good one, King Richard. Good one again. Check out Seat Tooth in Netflix. Check out Seat Tooth in Netflix. I honestly don't know what you mean. Is that how it's spelled? Seat Tooth? Seat Tooth Netflix. Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth? Sweet tooth. It's a DC Comics thing. I'm sure there's a reason you told me to check this out. Set in a world in which a virus has killed a majority of the world's human population. Hybrid babies. All right. I see why you're recommending it. I'll check it out. Thank you. Oh, she came again with Sweet Tooth. Okay, yeah. Sometimes my cell phone gets away from me too. Mr. Scott said, "You're right, Zach. It's like some Americans have the saying in them, if it's not happening to me, I don't care." Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. That's why they ship all of our trash to all these other nations, and their beaches are all polluted with our trash. Again, if that wasn't going on and we were looking at our own coastlines all full of trash, and it's not far off. I mean, look it up here in Seattle. They keep talking about all the dead orcas, all the dead fish, all the dead the whales. I mean, the crap is out there in the ocean. I mean, we are destroying the earth, absolutely. And see, that's the thing that annoys me. That's the thing that annoys me. They always want to harp on about this climate change and carbon. And again, the carbon thing seems like a load of shit, because anyone who's ever growing plants, you know, especially if you got into that thing where you grow those cash crops inside, you get those nice big pretty buds. You know, you introduce carbon to the environment, what happens? The plants get way bigger, way greener, and then they produce way more oxygen. So I almost feel like if you're introducing carbon to the environment, there should be some kind of natural offset, just based on what a lot of us know from farming those cash crops. Again, I'm not saying that there's not something to the greenhouse gases and that as well, but it's just like, to me, the more obvious pollution thing that they don't talk about is all the trash, just covering the world in trash and plastic and crap and packaging. They don't talk about that at all. And it's like, that looks to be the way more devastating thing. That's what's killing all the sea life, you know, and that's not a focus. The carbon is carbon, the CO2. Have you ever noticed how C is 3, O is 15, O is 15, 33? How they like their 33 things. Everything's got to be a number ritual. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, man. Out of sight, out of mind. And that's why they keep them distracted with entertainment too, so they're not seeing the things that they should be seeing. That's why YouTube, just like how they simulated in the Event 201 pandemic simulation, they simulated how they were going to use the flood out method as essentially a form of censorship. Just put all the mainstream shit they want in the feed, so that nobody's getting any of the independent research. Again, YouTube 2016, 2017, you search for something like LA fires, it'd be videos like mine popping up, not walls of ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN. That's what you get now. That's the flood out method. Now it's not YouTube anymore. It's just extension of the TV. It's TV tube, celebrity tube. All these celebrities that move to social media, and they get all the attention too. Celebrity obsessed society. Marcus Cruz, JJ Redick house burned down. It's like, damn, I shouldn't have taken that Lakers job. Yeah. They said James Woods' house burned down as well. D26, I thought you were going to bed. Did you hop back on here?
Yep, I did.
Did you want to come back on?
Just like you, 38 finds, as I mentioned, that there's something with the energy and the occult and all that stuff. Where should I begin? Remember, I was mentioning about Cal Fire, the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. The director of that department is also, his name equals 38, Joe Tyler, like the president, Joe Biden. And just I went through my notes, like basically, San Diego equals 38, Florida equals 38, and Hoover equals 38. So I'm just giving a heads up. Maybe they will do something with Kamala in the coming days. Because again, Hoover equals 38, and she shares the birthday with her to her, in which the library Jared Ford made that specific, very specific and creepy, cryptic prediction. But anyways, before Gavin Newsom, whoever the what's his name, Jerry Brown, that's the previous governor. He was born in 38, and okay. The motto of California is Eureka, and that equals 38.
Okay.
And I think what was else? Oh yeah, the anthem of California is also 38. It was 38 years ago. It was readopted. 1987. And regarding just like I know nothing regarding this one, but regarding a previous stream about the when I called in for the Tibet earthquake, that was also 201 days after the Dalai Lama repudiated. I don't know how to pronounce that. Repudiated the agreement that the Chinese army made with the people of Tibet. So that was also something with the Dalai Lama. I'll make a post of that if I get the time. But I think that's it. I was just about to sleep, but I did find some lot of 238 connections. So I think there is something with 666. How the name equals as you just what is on your screen. Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Christian Crowley. If you decode that, that equals 666 and 216.
Hey, I
same
appreciate
name.
the research, but D26, I do care about you and your health, and I know you don't hardly sleep. You need to really sleep more. Sleep is so important to longevity. The two most important things to living a long, healthy life are getting enough water and getting enough sleep. And there are other things, of course, like exercise and diet, but water and sleep are so important. You got to get sleep, man. You said you haven't slept in forever and you're still up. I appreciate you doing the research, but man, you need to sleep.
Yes, as I said, I was just sleeping early. As I said, I did have sleep. I think I didn't sleep a couple of days ago, probably. But yeah, today.
You're trying to get a good
today
amount
I
of
had,
sleep every day, except for
today I had a
when you have a
today I
child.
had a good
It's
sleep.
possible, but
That's what I'm saying. Today I had a good sleep in the afternoon, so that's why I'm awake a little bit. So I'll be sleeping just in like half an hour or something like that.
all right. I do want you to take care of yourself. We need you around.
Thank you so much for the concern.
Yes.
And yeah, anyway, everyone else, thank you for the support and good one to King Richard for the find. And I will also probably go live as I said on weekend or maybe this weekend or next weekend.
Okay.
Hope to see you soon.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye
Frank.
bye.
Get some
Take
rest.
care.
Thank you. All right. Endgame. What's up,
All right.
Endgame?
Hold on a second. Hey, Zach, what's good?
Hey, what's up?
I just wanted to make you step on here real quickly. So Lil Wayne has a song called Start a Fire. Came out in 2014, but on YouTube, it's exactly 3 minutes and 53 seconds long. If you look at the YouTube video, and then obviously that's the 71st prompt.
What's it called again?
Start a Fire.
Start a Fire. Okay. Yeah. Gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
New Orleans. Okay.
Yeah, and he also stays out, in Los Angeles, California as well.
It reminds me when Kobe died. He had that tribute to Kobe on the album, and it was just like days after he died, and he had a song "Funeral" on there, and then Damian Lillard had a song "Funeral" having something to do with that. And the Kobe Bryant Remembrance game was against the Blazers, and the Lakers lost to the Blazers. I gotta go back and look at all that.
Yeah, but what's so significant again about the whole 71? I know it's the 353 71st prime, but obviously the fire started on 7th day of the first month. But what is it again?
Santa Ana's 71, like they're saying Santa Ana wins.
Okay.
Ventura County's 71. Home insurance is 71. What they're saying is going way up because of this. The mayor's 71 years old. Again, the whole Revelation theme, Revelation 7:1 is about the wind.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, sweet, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Green Kid, what's up?
What's going on, brother? Okay, so touching on the Anton LaVey portion you were speaking about, and the Broncos behold.
Well, hold on. Anton LaVey is the founder of the Church of Satan, and he didn't die for people to know. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, died 201 days after his own birthday and 201 days before the sitting Pope's birthday. Again, Church of Satan, highest degree mega. That's why they did the ritual with Trump on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, that he'd become the 45th president. Obama telling the joke at the White House, which wasn't a joke. But we talked about Aleister Crowley, not Anton LaVey, but there's a relation. Okay. So go ahead.
I mean, I guess now it wouldn't make sense. I was thinking like, okay, the Super Bowl is going to be this year in San Francisco. What if the Broncos come?
You mean next year? Next year's Super Bowl is going to be in San Francisco.
Year. Yeah, sorry. It'll come to San Francisco, right? And with all the 666 stuff that's been happening, the 49ers got their 666. The Eagles could get there. I'm sorry, I don't want to speak about the sports stream stuff if you don't want me to, but all that stuff, like it's just having me think like, okay, well, what are they trying to do with this? What are they letting us know? Maybe the Broncos come and that's when they start their little rituals or whatever. And maybe a team could get their sixth. I don't know. What I do realize is that when that stadium opened up, there was two deaths. A man, he was just about to retire. One of the guys that I worked with, he worked with one of those union workers there, and he was telling them about how he was about to retire. So, anyways, I forgot what date it was, but he died on his 60th birthday. I think he had just turned 60 2 days prior.
Well, I'll remind people that the 49ers now play in Santa Clara, where the Jesuit University is, and the Jesuits, their first decade with the Catholic Church, their order was limited to 60 members. Again, the word order itself equals 60, and here we just had the 60th election where Trump's ex-wife fell down the stairs and died exactly 60 weeks into the Jesuitic nation year, the same day that he said that he'll be running in the next election, which was the 60th, not to mention his name equals 60. But I'll go back and look at that. Par for the course. Remember last year they killed the Smash Mouth singer in Santa Clara right before the season got underway, and the Niners had a Super Bowl run where they lost to the Chiefs in the latest Joe Montana Bowl. But a lot of funny business in Santa Clara. So
yeah, I mean, if Joe Montana dies this year, dude, that's it right there. I think at least they're giving it away right there. Because I remember the last time. I think it was.
I don't think they're going to do Joe Montana like that. He's probably still got a ways to go. Yeah.
Well, he went to Notre Dame, man, and Notre Dame. We're talking about that. So
yeah, my troll's going to have to take down his video. He made fun of my Notre Dame pick at the beginning of the year. He took down the video. Yeah, troll. I bet he did. But anyway.
Yeah. So touching on what occurred on the 7th. So you've seen the movie Carrie, right?
The one about the girl gets bullied in high school?
Yeah. Okay, so that movie, it starts off with I didn't see the house address, so I can't really say any specific number with that. But what I noticed is that the Carrie, the main I don't know if she's an antagonist or what you would I don't know. Anyways, so when her mom gets home, finds out she had her period or whatever, she makes her pray. Obviously, you could tell it's a Catholic household. She forced her to pray, right? So when she goes to pray, she has a crucifix with the image of Jesus Christ on there, on the cross. And then she has, I don't know if it looks like a star constellation or something, but yeah, obviously the wounds are there, right? And she has those pinned, but then she has 3 wounds, like where the mortal wound was given, I guess, or whatever. Three more like pins that she put in there. And then so I guess maybe like that's where like all this satanic starts coming up, and with these fires, because the film was filmed at the Palisades charter school.
I'll look into that. So okay, Carrie has a connection to Pacific Palisades. I see.
And then she when she went like ballistic or whatever, the school it was engulfed in flames.
Yeah.
And then she goes back home. Oh, and then she forces somebody to get into a car accident. Maybe there's a car accident with a major star soon. I don't know. Anyways.
All right. It's an interesting thought. I got to hurry up and wrap this up. And there's a few more people want to get in, but interesting observation. I'll look more into that. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, there was an earthquake as well, and fire at the end of the movie. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, hopefully earthquakes for us up here, probably in the Bay. I think that's what's coming next, like we were talking about before the year started, Zach. And another quick thing, with Jimmy Carter funeral, I wanted to mention, I was putting it in the chat, but they literally recited verbatim like a quote from a movie. I forgot what movie it was too, but you can look it up. It's on X as well on the feed, but I was like, wow. And then they played the video of this movie. I forgot what the movie was. It was like a 90s movie or something like that, but it's during a funeral as well. They recite it, and that's one. And then the other one was the reporter during a broadcast. I forgot what was it on scene, and it looked like probably it was like red and white toolbar or whatever. So the reporter says, yeah, the fire's looking pretty good. And so, yeah, they're just mocking us right in front of our face. That's why I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been seeing on the surface. But yeah, stuff's getting real wicked, Zach. Like they're that warp speed that Donald Trump said when he was president before. They're for sure warp speed. And they're moving real fast.
Indeed.
Thanks,
All right, appreciate the heads up, man. Thank you.
You're on, man.
All right, take care. All right, King Rich, we have a new gentleman who's never been here before. He's been patient. Let's let him get in, and then King Rich can close us out. What's up, Nick, the Occult Rejects?
Hey, how are you? Thank you very much for, I guess, let me jump on. I appreciate it. Big fan of your work too. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, I have my own show. I'm big into numbers myself, and there's other people that I have on that are part of the show that are big into numbers as well. And it was something, I guess, maybe some sort of advice or maybe things I just wanted to throw your way. As an occultist, and I was, and I'm not using this to brag, I was in the OTO for about 5 or 6 years. Like, I'm a practicing magician and occultist. I fuck with magic. When you play with numbers, just from my experience, it'd be good if you cross-referenced it against birds, as silly as it sounds, especially ones that see UV light, the morning chorus birds, tarot cards, cross-reference them towards tarot cards, and a big thing, eyeball parts. I could even send you, if there's some way someone can get me an email, I've even done the gematria on eyeball parts, tarot cards, birds. And I use those to always reference back to when I'm playing with numbers. And in my opinion, if those things start coming up, you have found something occult and something the fuck's going on. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you guys can curse. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Here's a real story. This you're saying this just reminds me of something that happened that was really interesting in my life. So I found this work in 2013. It was shortly after my 30th birthday. So when I turned 31, I lived in Bothell, Washington, just north of Seattle. There's a lot of birds out there. And for anyone who's in the Seattle area, you might recall there was always a bald eagle that would be perched on the bridge that connects Seattle and Bellevue. And actually, one year somebody shot that bald eagle, as crazy as that is. But again, I'd never seen anything like this before. It was my 31st birthday. In Gematria, a bald eagle equals 31. Kind of like how Joe Biden just made he just signed the official bill making it the official national bird. And then a few days later, a famous football player who played for Philadelphia, who was the 31st pick of the draft, who played for the Eagles, died just days later. But
come on,
Bill Berge.
Yeah, exactly. The point I'm making, though, is on my 31st birthday, I was in my backyard. We were having a little barbecue back there, and this bald eagle just swoops right over us in the backyard. I mean, it's unmistakable that it was a bald eagle. I was like, holy shit, because I had just become aware of this gematria thing in the last year. I'd never had a bald eagle swoop over us. So this thing you're saying about playing with numbers and just weird things happening, I have noticed weird things in my time, and that's the only time in my life a bald eagle swooped over my head was on my 31st birthday, and that ended up being the worst. It started off as the best year of my life, and it ended up being the worst year because I had a lot of bad things happen. But
it was just
my birth numerology. If you break down my birth numerology, it breaks down to 31 and then 4. But yeah, so you saying that just made me go, well, it just reminded me of something that happened in my life. I'd like to learn more about this. So.
Yeah. I could always send you some information if there's a way. To be totally honest with you, I know this is a pathetic way to do it, but I'd love to have you on our show. We would love to have you on one day, man. So if ever in the future you want to.
Is that the name of the show, Nick, the Occult Rejects?
The Occult Rejects, yes.
It's just the Occult Rejects.
Yeah. I've had, this was a while ago. I've had Marianne Fine Art on. Suzanne, you might know who she is. I've had Contemporary Problems, Cthulhu on.
Is that your channel right there?
Yes.
Okay. I might give it a thud. Yeah. Okay.
I'll check it out too.
Check us out, and you're always invited to come on, man. I think you do some great work, and you're great with numbers, and I do believe there's something with this stuff. I don't know what it is, but there's something there with these numbers.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'd be happy to come on and just listen to what you know, since you are an occultist. I'm not, and I'm sure I can learn some things from you. Because just what you said right there, I'm like, man, I did have something weird like that happen with birds.
Yeah, no, you know what it is? Not to get into, but like, I'm going to keep it quick and for real. Some of the biggest secrets of the occult, and especially in symbolism, is how your eyeball works and how it works with your brain. And birds have better vision, and this is crazy. I'll make this quick. Why I said morning chorus birds. The Russians were doing some tests where they were trying to read the sound coming from the sun, and they started noticing certain birds would start seeing the sun or picking it up prior to it even rising. And they started wondering, what are the birds doing? All of a sudden, somehow they realized this is crazy. These birds are mimicking the sound that the sun is putting off. They're mimicking it back. And the way that they do it is their pupils suck the sound in. They see with their eyes, not with their ears, so they can see what the sun is saying. And that's why they're basically clapping back. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Well, there's something up with birds. Think Horus, Thoth, the Egyptians, they always used birds.
The Illuminati likes the owl. They like the owl.
Owls see UV light.
Yeah.
Reindeer see UV light. Look up animals that see UV light and run those with your numbers sometimes and see if something hits.
You know what's funny about Moloch? It equals 201 as well. Moloch.
Yeah. The owl. Okay.
Yeah, man. I'll let you go. Thank you for having me on, man. That's why I just wanted to give you some hints from somebody who fucks with them, plays with numbers too, and an occultist. There's something with the birds and the eyes, man. I'm telling you. So
okay. We'll have to connect.
Yeah. Maybe if you can have like a mod reach me, or I don't know if you want to put your email out in public.
No, my email's fine. It's my channel. It's GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. If you want to send me, say, hey, Nick from the Occult Rejects, we'll line it up.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure coming on. This was like, I'm like fanboying over here. Thank you.
All right, man. I look forward to connecting. I have things to learn from you, I'm sure. Thank you.
All right, later.
Again, what he said reminds me of how when I first started looking into this, I read about how you study the Kabbalah, it can be dangerous because you're opening up a can of worms of occult weirdness. And I did look into those things, and I thought, okay. I said, but I'm not going into this to become some kind of practitioner. I'm just going into this to understand what the elite are doing, because clearly they're using this stuff to manipulate humanity, and that's all it's ever been over here. But I have had some weird things happen in my time. What's up, King Rich?
Yo, what's up, man? Great. Shout out to that guy. Great guy. I'm going to check out his channel later on. But I wanted to add on to, we were talking about Lana Del Rey, and like I said, I found the 201. The fires, they came on her 201st day of her age. She's Jesuit educated. I didn't even know she was Jesuit educated. But if you run her name, her name literally equals 97 and 56. But that's not what I want to talk about. Her full name, if you just look up her full name equals 121. And I have my notes right here. Let me pull it up right here. So you remember how CNN had the quote apocalyptic, and you mentioned how it equaled 121? Well, her full name equals 121, and remember they were comparing it started in Santa Ana, and they were comparing it to the Santa Ana winds of 2011, which was on December 1st, 12/1. And remember, you pointed out how it was on the 121st day of the I don't know if it was California's age or the state's age.
Yeah, California's age.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're pointing that out. I'm like, okay. And then I see her name equals 121. That song came out on September 13th, 2019. That was a day with 41 numerology, and LA equals 41, like apocalypse equals 41. And I don't know if you knew this, but apocalypse equals the same thing as Kobe Bryant as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely more to it, man. I gotta check it out. Also, that song, it came out 277 weeks before the fire started, and I think that's interesting because of Super Bowl 59 and 2.
Well, it's the 59th prime because the whole Revelation and apocalyptic thing too. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Revelation equals 59. Yeah, I forgot all about that. And 121. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then the 41 date numerology, LA 41, Apocalypse 41. I mean, and she literally, if you look at the lyrics, it literally talks about, I miss Long Beach, which is, in LA. So I don't know how people are still denying this stuff, man. I see, I go on your Twitter often, and I see like people are like, you got people saying, are you mentally retarded because you're pointing out this stuff? It's like, no, we're pointing out what's going on, the rituals,
That's why it gets annoying, because it's like these people are literally mentally retarded, and then they're asking us that. It's like, no, I'm superior to you, and then people get mad that I say things like that. But is it not a fact, or am I not superior to some fucking loser who's talking shit? Of course I am. Please.
Exactly. That's why I don't care about what a retard says. That's why I'm out here today. I'm what I do basically every day. I make it a point to come on the street corner wherever I'm at to educate about gematria, man. And I've had a lot of great listeners. I've also had a lot of bad people come out here and be like, talking about witchcraft, but I don't care. I'm still out here. You know what I mean? So that's the attitude.
Are you using some kind of speaker setup, or what do? You got a sign?
No, I just come out here and I engage with people, kind of like, you know, you walk up to somebody and talk to them, you start a conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, like I'm doing
one,
an old
one at a
school
time.
like that.
Each one
Yeah.
teach one.
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. Each one teach one. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing, engaging in conversations. I do plan on getting a megaphone, man, and stand on the street corner, man. But I feel like a speaker setup would be pretty cool too. So,
well, good for you, King Richard. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, man.
All right, yeah, take care.
All right,
All right, we got Zai back. Zai, that's a reminder. I got to get the copyright thing in the description. What's up?
Oh, no, you good. You good. I'm just in the background listening. The stream was lagging, so I figured I'd come on StreamYard. I don't have nothing to add right now, though.
Okay, I'm going to wrap this thing up. If you want to do some closing words, you can.
Yeah, for everybody listening, I hope everybody's doing well. You know, if you're a part of this community, I suggest you don't act in a way as you put it, you know, in a bad light. There's a lot of bad stigmas that come from supporting this kind of work, but you can't let that break you. You got to have a strong mental when it comes to this kind of stuff. And yeah, you know, the strongest, this is gonna be the the strongest of the fittest. That's how they say it.
Well, Darwinism, the survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, that's what it is. But yeah, that pretty much sums up what I gotta say. I didn't come on here to say too much.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on anyway, and the tip you gave me yesterday. So thank you very much.
No worries. Take it easy.
All right, take care. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there, you guys. I'm gonna have to do a short follow-up video with what you guys brought with the Lana Del Rey thing, because that's a trip. There's no way that's a coincidence. And it's just that predictive programming thing. And again, there's so many different ways you can read that we're living out a plan. And again, what are the odds that she's a Jesuit-educated woman, and this is synced up with the Jesuit-educated governor and the leader of the Jesuits? I'm frustrated that so many people out there in the world are making fun of me and Zach and the Jesuits. They do that, like, oh yeah, blame a Jesuit. So it's like, does your humor lack historical context? Because it is true that the founders did warn about what could happen to this nation if the Jesuits came out of suppression. It is true that the nation's capital was moved to the Jesuit stronghold from Philadelphia to D.C., where the Jesuits set up camp. And notice how our history is. Again, it is true that Georgetown, the first Jesuit university, was established in 1789, the year that George Washington became the first recognized president. You know, it's also true that Georgetown equals 57 like Rome, and George Washington was 57 years old in 1789 when he became the president. And why were so many of the first presidents inaugurated in Jesuit Georgetown and D.C.? Why did it happen at age 57? And why was D.C. once called Rome on the Potomac? Why is there all the Roman architecture in D.C.? You know, again, this is new Rome. This is the new empire. And, you know, once upon a time, Rome burned. Don't be surprised if the way this empire ends is with it burning and then blaming it on climate change, when really it was the military technology of the day. Again, there is the idea of the occult, the phoenix. You know, out of the ashes comes the phoenix. To make something better, you got to destroy what once was. You don't think the powers that shouldn't be don't take a look around at the society they created and say, you know what? You know, I think we need to start over. You don't think they look around at America and have thoughts like that? I mean, that's what I think every time I go outside. Like I said, at the grocery store yesterday, there's a guy, his arms were, I can't even find an object skinny enough. His arms were like as thick as the wire on here, but his gut came out 3 feet. It looked fucking impossible. I thought, how do you get a body like that? And then you got a Donald Trump t-shirt on just to cap it off. I mean, he just, like I've always said, you got to be a fucking loser to vote for these people. That guy was the physical embodiment of a fucking loser. Toothpick arms and a 3-foot gut. It seemed impossible. I wish I would have engaged with him. Like, how do you even get a body like this? Are you working at this? I mean, some people just got really bad genetics. Somehow no fat went to his arms. It just went all to his gut. But it looked hard for him even to walk around. Have you ever heard of Kurt Vonnegut's character, Kilgore Trout? It was like a fat version of Kilgore Trout. But and there he was with his Trump Never Surrender fist pump t-shirt. And I thought, see, this is the kind of person that's fallen for this shit right here. And sadly, him and almost everyone else in America. But yeah, and there's just so many signs that we're due for the Great Reset, as the Jesuit Klaus Schwab called it, when he said by 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy. Again, boys that are like girls, girls that are like boys, fat slobs everywhere. Half the youth of the nation are obese, very low skill, intelligence, all the best jobs in America occupied by foreigners. That's almost true. I mean, what is it? 95%. You go to big tech where all the best jobs are in the country. What is it? 95% are Indian and Asian and Russian. We spent all of our time coming up in slave school learning about how lucky we were that we weren't Chinese, because they spend so much more time in school, only to realize that if you spend more time in school, then you get a good job and you do well in life. And if you're an American and you learn about Christopher Columbus and all the other bullshit they fill our heads with in the 13 years of slave school, pledging the 13 stripes, you walk away and the best you can do is work at Walmart. Again, that's why it's time for the reset, you guys. It is. And again, just like I said, I mean, I've been here every day demonstrating work ethic, concern and care for humanity, educating about this. And what have I gotten back in return? You know, mostly a bunch of haters, cars crashing through my house, dead animals at the doorstep, endless threats, channels dedicated to mocking what I'm doing. How many people have there been that have been dedicated to clipping up the best of these videos and helping get out the information? Almost no one. That there's more hate in the world than love. There's more people that worship authority than want to do away with it. I mean, just that's why I say, like, please. I'm almost like, please let the Deagle report be true. I honestly don't think it is going to be true, but in a way, I really do wish they would just get on with it. Don't stop at LA. You know, set it all on fire. Just tell everyone it was climate change. Tell them it was a new virus. New virus set the. You can tell them anything in the news. They just believe anything. It was a virus that set all the cities on fire at once. Conspiracy theorists. Tell them anything. The same people that believe in Santa Claus. You guys ever think about that? How if you're not part of the culture, if you don't raise your children to believe in the lie of Santa Claus, got to indoctrinate them with the lies. You got to believe in lies. Believe in lies. The word with lie right in the middle. Believe. Another word that should be exterminated from vocabulary. You know, language is important too. You know, something I learned about from Sweet Lady. She's from Burma, right? Like they have a word for good child. Good child. There's a word, I already forget it. She just taught it to me the other day. Good child. I said, what's the word for bad child? She goes, oh, we don't have a word for that. So that's nice. And there's a lot of things like that in a lot of people's language. There's a lot of positive things, but then they don't even have the negative thing. You don't want to manifest that. Just stay on the positive. You imagine if we grew up in a society where it was just like focused on positive. You think maybe people would do better. So we have a society obsessed with negativity. But yeah, I got to move on. This stream went longer than expected. I'm bad at that. It's just there's so much to say, and got to teach the same points every day, and you got to be redundant to make things stick, because even being redundant, things don't stick with people. Yeah, word spells, exactly. And you know, that's the funny thing about me and Sweet Lady too. Sweet Lady comes from the Far East. I didn't know about gematria until being in a relationship with Sweet Lady. And then when I started learning about this, she goes, you know, this makes me think of my grandmother. Her grandmother in Burma was the witch doctor for the village, not in an evil way. She was like the positive witch doctor. If somebody got sick or an animal got sick, she went and she gave the cure. And what the cure was mostly based in was language. And what her grandma taught her is you had to say the right words in the right sequence to make the animal heal or the person heal. So again, I mean, that's why the occultism, the occult side of this, the stuff that almost every American thinks is fairy tale, that, you know, that's just ancient world garbage, mumbo jumbo nonsense. Maybe some of it is, but is there also an element of truth to a lot of it? Is there an element of truth to all of these ancient world teachings, from Kabbalah, where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from, to Hermeticism, about everything carrying a vibration, and those vibrations have real world influence, and you're either the person being influenced or doing the influencing? Again, to me, it seems like there must be, because I don't know how else to explain the average American person who's under some kind of trance, some kind of spell, just believing in the liars who lie to him every day, watching towers get demolished in a Jesuit ritual by their number code, and then thinking that a man in a cave did it by flying, you know. I just don't want to get into it. It's just, all the shit that we're fed that people believe that is an obvious lie and so few people question it, to me, it just seems like that's some kind of spell. It's like it's got the people's minds under the control of the authorities. They don't go against their master. Their minds only work when the person comes along who exposes the lies of the authority. That's when their minds start questioning things. And then they're looking for any excuse to not listen to that person, even though they've been right about everything. Yeah. I haven't been right about everything, but I've been right about the vast majority of the thoughts I've had about what's going on in this nation since 9/11 happened. I was just 18 years old back then, but anyway, we'll save that for later. So again, thank you everyone who hits the like and the share. Check out the gentleman who came over, the actual occultists. You know, I'm gonna hopefully collaborate with them and maybe learn a thing or two. I appreciate him coming on today. The Occult Rejects, and isn't it funny how if you talk about the occult, you will be rejected by society? Oh, that's old world hocus pocus bullshit. Maybe that's what your indoctrination centers taught you, and maybe that's not the truth. Maybe there's a reason that the ruling class is clearly into the occult. So, all right. Till next time, True Seeker.